and they're like, "Hey, driver, woo!" And they show the bazookas, and Logan's like, "Yeah." I know that, you know, like, Hugh Jackman's a handsome guy, but when he looks at these boobs, he's like, yeah, he was like just a mangy old man. You do not want him to look at you like he was looking at that girl, Chad. It's like, yeah, he's really gross. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
You still have time.
Now we got to get into the nitty-gritty details, Chad. We're starting out Logan! Black screen, white text, Chad. Very simple, very Carpenter-esque. James Mangold clearly was inspired by the opening title crawls of John Carpenter. He's like, let's just keep it simple. This is a very monochromatic world. There's also a black and white version of Logan, which I have not seen. I think I might have it on my Blu-ray. I do own this film, Chad. Actually, I'll show you. I do own this movie, but I don't know if it comes with the black and white version. I have no idea. Nope. Doesn't come with it. I think that's a special edition, Chad. I always wanted to see what that movie would look like that. So it kind of looks like, you know, a dystopian sci-fi western. That would be kind of neat. Devin, good to see you. Just saw you in the chat right there. Hope you're doing very well today. But I just love the opening, very simple title card, Chad. Very reminiscent of John Carpenter. I like that. I like honoring John Carpenter in small ways, Chad. But then we just see the title card, Logan, Chad, and we hear just this Mexican music playing, Chad. There's a lady. She's speaking Spanish. People are speaking Spanish, and we cut to the back of an armored limo, Chad, where we see just a sad sack of a person, Chad. And this person is goddamn Wolverine. The Wolverine as I live and breathe. Logan himself, Chad. After all his adventures, fighting in Japan, Chad, fighting goddamn mutant and human threats for his entire life as one of the senior members of the X-Men, he's a fucking Uber driver. He's a Lyft driver, Chad. That's where he's ended up, drunk in the back of a fucking van, just waking up in a pool of his own spittle, Chad, looking like shit. Now, Hugh Jackman still looks good in the movie. He still has like a good physique. I mean, he's not like shredded and ripped like he was in something, you know, like the Wolverine or like X-Men Origins Wolverine or anything like that. But he still looks good. Like when he takes his shirt off, yeah, he's got all this, you know, prosthetics on and things. He's got a little cut up. It's like, I would still fucking kill for that goddamn physique of his, no question about it. Yeah, he's still looking good. Now, but when you're seeing a guy whose eyes are now just yellow, they're just yellowish. It looks like he has severe liver damage. Like, honestly, what happened was, as we learn in the movie, the adamantium, Chad, is poisoning his body. I mean, they don't say it like out loud. We just he knows it, and everyone else knows it. And he's just like, this is the way it is. Not gonna get this out of me anytime soon. And his healing factor can't deal with it. So all those years of binge drinking, I mean, just fucking throwing back bottles of whiskey and hard liquor has finally caught up to him. Right here and now, Chad. And he looks fucking rough. You just look at his eyes. It's like, oh my God, he can't see anymore. He can't read anymore because he's got like early glaucoma, Chad. He has these reading glasses, which again, even small subtle things, like when he goes to read, you will still see like the tag is on the glass because he just doesn't give a fuck about his appearance anymore. He just doesn't care. He's like, I can't read. I love it. Darkslayer, my Blu-ray came with the black white. Maybe mine does too. I'll have to look. Maybe I have an older version. Maybe that's why. Maybe it was like the original version. I'll have to go and see. But he comes to, he's like, he just looks like he's just about to vomit, Chad, about to vomit. And he opens his car. He's like somewhere, it looks like in the Southwest United States, Chad. And he's just stumbling. He's just stumbling out, and he sees these Mexican gangsters, Chad. I guess they're called cholos. Cholos is, I guess, the word. And they're trying to steal his fucking hubcaps, Chad. And he's like, why are you doing that? And they're like, oh, they'll panic. He's like, listen, guys, you're not gonna be able to get those off of that tool. You're just gonna fucking scratch them, and it's a rental, and it's gonna be a huge mess. And the guy goes, oh, so we can't get them off? Nah, man, it's not gonna happen. Listen, I just want to go, and they shoot him. They just, boom, fill him with fucking slugs, chat, buckshot and slugs, boom, right in the goddamn chest. And he's like, ah, and they're like, ha ha ha, they're laughing and shit. And then they go back to getting these hubcaps off, chat, but then he slowly gets back up. And he's not getting back up like he used to, just like anything like that. He's just still stumbling, and they're like, holy shit. And he's like, all right, guys, I guess we're going to do this the hard way. Snick! Except it's the slowest snick you ever seen, chat, because his claws just are, like, coming out so slowly, and they're just, part one of this claws just doesn't come out all the way. It's just like, ah, shit. It's, like, stuck in there, and they're covered in this pus, this yellow reddish pus, chat, you see later on where they usually come out, like right between his knuckles. There's just this weird pussy white stuff. It's just like, ugh. So his hands are infected, so his hands must constantly be in pain as he pops his claws. Yeah, they don't extend the same way they used to anymore. So he's like, ah, shit. But he's still got to start fighting, and he starts fighting these guys, and he's woozy, chat. The alcohol's affecting him, his sickness is still affecting him, but eventually they're hitting him so many goddamn times, he's like, all right, fuck it. And then we see it, the first stab into one guy's arm. You see just the blood and the meat and the tendons just go. And the arm just fucking severs. It just falls on the ground, just useless. And eventually, they're all freaking out because of this, and they just kick him on the ground. So they start, going, you motherfucker, stomping on him, using their goddamn tire irons, using crowbars, until he's like, "Rah!" And he fucking flips out Berserker Rage, except kind of slow Berserker Rage because he's not doing well. He's an old man, chat. And he starts slicing, dicing. And when we first see this in the theater, chat, it is so fucking cathartic. Him just literally just stabbing in the people's faces. You can just, they're coming out their eyes and top their heads. The meat that's falling out of their chins, chat, and their necks is like, it's just like an avalanche of meat, chat. It's amazing. Oh, it's so goddamn good. And he's cutting people's limbs off. Che cuts this one, and it's so funny because at one scene, because he doesn't want anyone to shoot the truck because it's a rental car, because that's what he does for his living, Chad. He's a Lyft driver. That's how he earns fucking money. And at one point, they're like shooting at him, but they almost shoot the car. He's like, wait, no, don't shoot it. And he literally is throwing his body in front of the car so they don't shoot it, Chad, because he can't afford it. So he's actually absorbing getting shot to avoid making payments, Chad, penalty fees on the car. It's amazing. It's fucking incredible. And eventually, though, he's just like, all right, fuck this. And he starts cutting people's arms off now. He cuts this one guy's arm off, chap, but because of the nerves and shit and the reaction, it still goes off, and the shotgun hits buckshot right into the goddamn car. He's like, fuck! And by the way, I think this is the most Hugh Jackman has ever used fuck in a movie ever, Chad, because every other sentence is like, fuck it, fuck, shut the fuck up, just stop talking to me. He's just mad. He's mad all the time. He can't see. He's in pain. He's drunk half the time. Just shut the fuck up and leave me alone. And he starts slicing, dicing. And eventually these guys are like, fuck, we gotta get out of here. And they start pouring back into their little windowless van, Chad, like a diddle van. They got like a little diddle van, Chad, they got from a diddler. And they take off. There's also a great shot of Hugh Jackman grabs one of their tire irons. He goes, nah! And he like throws it back and hits their windshield and cracks it. But he also trips when he throws. He's like, ah, shit. He like falls. I love it. And eventually, he's like, oh, God, Jesus. And he gets back in the car, Chad. And he's got to go and drive back to where, he has to stop. He's got to stop on over. But then we just see him where he's just going around the southwest United States. So I guess he's in New Mexico somewhere, Chad, in Texas. I guess Texas. And all he's doing to earn money, he's a Lyft driver. He's an Uber driver, or whatever this futuristic version is. Thank you, reserve the 5 minutes. Did your copy say includes Theatrical and Logan noir versions on the back? No, it does not. But in Vegas, yeah, we do. I think Kansas City. I think they're in Kansas City in in later on in the movie. I don't know if they're in Vegas. Maybe I don't remember. But and that's his life. It's like, oh my God, this is so sad. And eventually he stops at a gas station, chat, because he's just coated in fucking blood. And that's where we see it, where he's like, oh, he's always shaking. He's always shaking now because of the pain in his body. And like, I just love how subtle it is sometimes. But we see this in the trailer, chat, where they have like Johnny Cash's "This Is Why I Hurt," and he's taking all it off. And you see his healing factor is just not where it used to be. He still heals, but it's super slow. And he's just holding himself over this sink, just going, just breathing heavy as these bullets are slowly, and the buckshot and the shrapnel is slowly coming out of him, chat. Just ding, 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 right in the sink. And you see his hands, chat, where like these little pussy slits are in between his knuckles where his claws come out. They don't heal anymore. It's just like, oh my God. And he just looks like shit. And he's just like, oh God. And then eventually they all start fucking falling out of him. And he clean himself up with fucking toilet paper, chat. Puts all that shit back on. And he's just like, Jesus God. And then he gets back into it, gets back into his car, chat. And he drives off. And then he's at a hospital. He's at it's daytime, chat, and it's daytime. Actually no. What happens is before he goes there, chat, we see him at like a funeral. So he's doing anything to help anybody, chat. Just lifting people, taking people anywhere. So I guess he also works funerals. We just see him, chat. They had the family, whatever. They're mourning their relative that died, and you just see him in a graveyard, just fucking drinking whiskey out of a bottle, chat. Out of brown, crumpled brown bag, and just drinking this shit, just like just he doesn't care anymore. And then eventually he's like, this woman's like, huh. Logan. He's like, huh? He's like, no. And she's like, Logan. He's like, that's not my name. I don't go by that name. You're Wolverine. He's like, no, lady. No. I need your help. Mutants need your help. He's like, to get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away. I'm not doing with this. This is not my fucking problem. And eventually, he goes, and she runs away, chat, and she gets into a car and she drives off, and he sees like a little girl just like looking, just watching. I'm always watching you. And they drive away. And then one of the mourners shouting us, one of the ladies is like, who was that? He's like, this is a crazy lady. Don't pay no attention. I'm sorry about that. Gets him in the car and he drives him off and drops him off, chat. Eventually we see him at a hospital, chat. So now apparently he's hooked on the drugs, chat. He's a pill popper. Logan the pill popper, chat. The best of what he does is popping pills and taking the drugs and drinking whiskey, mixing both. And he stops, he sees like his contact, chat, standing outside the hospital. He has the goods in question, gives him the fucking pills, and Logan pays him, and he gets back in his car. He's trying to read them. He's like, I can't fucking, God, where are my glasses? And we see like the glasses, chat. They have the label still on him that he never even bothered to take off, just looking at the shit. And all of the fucking sudden, this goddamn guy just steps into his car. And he says, who the fuck are you? And he goes, as I live and breathe, the Wolverine. And this, chat, is Boyd Holbrook. I don't know what his character name is, but his name is Boyd Holbrook, chat. He's been featured in a lot of shows. Narcos, probably most famously. I know he's in the first 2 seasons of Narcos, chat, about Pablo Escobar, part of the team that took him down, chat. And he's in there, and he's the leader, chat. I guess technically he's the leader of the Reavers, chat. Reavers in the comics were mutant hunters, chat. Now, these guys are very Mad Max-esque. All adorned in leather. They do a lot of body modification for themselves, chat, giving themselves everything from robot limbs to robot eyes. I mean, just complete mechanical upgrade, chat, so they can track and hunt and fight mutants. And it was cool how they got incorporated them. Usually they're using, like, typically they're featured in like Australia, Chad. They're in like in the Marvel comics, they're always in Australia. But here they're like, set in a dystopian United States, which works perfectly. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And Boyd Holbrook's like, I just want to ask you a couple questions. Now, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'm a fan. I love that, Chad. He opens up because it's known. I think it's kind of cool in this world. People know who the X-Men are. They're not the secret team that no one knows about. Like, people know who the X-Men were. They know who fucking Wolverine was. Even the X-Men have been they've been culturally appropriated by American entertainment, where you see like X-Men comics and X-Men figurines. I'm sure Wolverine's not getting paid shit for. You're not getting any of the payments. I'm sure there were movies in this. It's odd. And apparently, I forget who. I think James Mangold. He was talking because there's a particular comic that is referenced as a big plot point in the movie with this specific location. And I think Mangold said that a former X-Man is the writer of these X-Man comic books. And I always thought that was just like, that's interesting. And where he's like, he's a writer, and he obviously is using all these stories that he lived through, but he's also putting like secret coded messages in for mutants so they can escape and try to leave the United States. Like, that is fucking clever. I forget if I don't remember who it was, Austin. I don't remember who it was, because I think he mentioned I don't know if it was Scott. I don't recall. But I think there was an article out there. He did an interview where he said he wanted to have a plot point where it was said what mutant was doing this, who was the writer of these comics, because it's a weird plot point. But yeah, this person is giving subtle messages in these comics and basically telling people to go to these key locations, as you'll see in the movie, to escape the Reavers and the United States, which has become a little racist, chat, a little racist against the muties, if you will. And, the guys are saying, now, listen, I told him I'm a fan. I'm happy to see it. Looks like you're having some issues. I see that there's some buckshot in the back of your car. And I happen to recall that 5 cholos were killed nearby, and apparently they went up against a man with claws for hands. And Logan's like, I don't know that guy. And he's like, listen, I just want to ask you one simple question, Logan. Has the woman approached you? He's like, woman, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, she has some property that I tend to reacquire. I work for this organization. Here's my car. And Logan's just staring. He's like, I'm not taking your fucking car. He's like, I'm just going to put that right there for you. You let me know. Now, you let me know now if you happen to come across that woman on my property. Ciao, and he fucking leaves. I love it. He's just like, I'm a big fan of you. Back in the day, what you do, it is the best. And he leaves, chat, and he takes the card, and it says Arclay. He's like, fuck, Arclay, like Arclay, chat, like the Arclay Mountains, where they fucking had the Weapon X program. He's like, Jesus, God, that's not good. That's not good. And so he's like, oh, my Lord. And so then he fucking drives back home, Chad. He lives across the Mexican border. Thank you, Anonymous, for the 5 biddies. Woo! Thank you. Thank you so much for all your generosity tonight, Chad. Thank you, you anonymous so-and-so. But he drives back, Chad. He lives in Mexico. He constantly has to go across the border trying to hide a certain individual, chat. Pulls it up. Apparently, he is renting out a smelting plant, a former smelting plant, chat. And he goes in there, goes in a little facility where we meet the mom of the movie, chat, which might as well be his fucking wife in the film, chat, because they bicker like an old married couple. We're introduced to Stephen Merchant's Caliban. Now, Caliban has been featured in the X-Men films, chat, most prominently, I guess before this, in X-Men Apocalypse, where I don't know if this is the same version of the character. I don't think it's the same version of the character. They don't sound alike. They don't act alike. But they do imply that Caliban, he was a mutant hunter himself. His special mutant ability, chat, is he's able to basically sniff out mutants. He's able to track them. By their scent, most likely. He's also very sensitive to sunlight, chat. He's like a very tall Schmeagle. Chat. And he goes in there, and already Caliban's just like, it was a rough night for me last night, okay? Like, I can't do this anymore, Logan. I just can't do it. Logan's like, shut up. Shut the fuck up and make me dinner. He's like, you make it yourself. You don't care about me. I just love it. How they go back and forth. Like, I wish Stephen Merchant was in the movie more. I'm kind of sad that, I don't know, after the first act, he's just kind of relegated to, like, all right, tertiary character. But he did a very good job. He did voice Wheatley in Portal 2. That's true. Most excellently, I might say. Most excellently. And they're arguing and everything. And, Logan's just like, fucking, listen, I need a minute, okay? I had a rough goddamn night. He's like, I had a rough night last night. I went to him, and he's always so mean to me, and he's always talking. He's talking about this girl. Always talking about this girl. He's like, what girl? What are you talking about? I don't know. But he knew these very specific details. So I think he's using his powers again. Fucking, Wolverine's is not possible. He can't be using his powers. I give him these all the time, and he got the pills. And he's like, you're going to have to up the dosage if he keeps doing something like this. Like, who are they talking about? Shit, we don't know. And he's like, listen, Caliban's like, I'm tired. Okay, I got to prep dinner for him, all right? Just you give it to him, okay? Please just give it to him. Logan's like, fuck, fine. And he takes it, chat. And then he goes outside, and we see this, I don't know what, it's like this giant fallen oil drum or something. She had this huge. And as he gets closer, you hear just what sounds like raving. Just random raving, howling, and just nonsense. Babble, chat, just babble. And we open it up, and we see Charles Xavier in a motorized wheelchair just talking to himself and like, oh, take the special Taco Bell. Only $2.99 with a free coupon for a large beverage. And just out of his mind, and you realize, oh, my God. Oh my God, he's in the throes of dementia. He's having an episode. He has Alzheimer's. Thank you, number 2 for the 5 biddies. Thank you, Chris. Here's the 5 biddies. Water Tower. Thank you. And it was just kind of shocking to see Chet. We see Charles Xavier because this very regal, this very astute, the studious, articulate character. He is the father figure of the group. Always has the right answers. The mentor to the mentees. And you just see him there, chat, in his fucking shit-stained, urine-stained pajamas, wailing out of his mind, talking about getting the best deal at Taco Bell. I'm like, holy hell. Just great moment. And everything, all the scenes that Patrick Stewart's in is amazing. And it really just shows, because what happens is, Logan, he's exasperated when he walks in because he sees this. Because based on his reaction, just the subtlety in his face, he's gone through this dozens, hundreds of times, hundreds of times, like over and over and over again. This is what he's had to deal with the whole time. He's like, and it's interesting because what it is really, it's very realistic. It's a grandparent, it's a parent who is going through the throes of dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever, a neurological a disease that's destroying their mind. And there's no cure for it, and this is how it is. And you have the grandson, whoever, chat. The grand sibling, if you will, or excuse me, son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter, and they have to deal with it, Chad. And you love this person, but there's also resentment there too. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. You see this and you get fucking tired of this. You don't want to have to fucking deal with this every day. And I like that they showcase that because, they're not trying to fucking sugarcoat it. It's like, no, it sucks to deal with something like this. And you hate the person. You go to resent the person because of the way they are, because they're fucking shitting over themselves and they're speaking babble. This person you looked up to. It's a sad state of affairs. And I just loved how emotional and exhausting it is for Logan to deal with, and for Professor X to be in the state that he is and not realize what's going on. It's great. It's really great, and I'm glad they didn't try to ignore the nitty gritty details of dealing with a problem like that. And he goes in there, and Charles, he's just fucking ranting, and Logan just he just situates himself in front of Charles, and Charles is like, "Make way, sir, make way!" He's just yelling at him and shit. He's like, Charles, you need to take your medicine. He's like, no, I'm not taking my medicine. Get the fuck out of it. And we see, he says, I don't want to fucking take my medicine. Fuck you. Just yelling, just super aggressive. And he's trying to get around him and shit and everything. And, he's like, who are you? I don't recognize you. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. And he's like, all right, Charles, come here. I got to give you. He's like, no, get away from me. And as soon as he rears back, Chad, he falls back on himself, hits his head. And then it's like a brain bomb just goes off, where everything just fucking free goes, and just shaking, this intense shaking starts happening, and Logan can barely move, and Caliban's frozen in place, and apparently it's affecting a large area, chat. And we realize that Charles is having a seizure. That's what this is, brought on probably by his dementia. So not only, Chet, does he has dementia, but his seizures cause these brain bombs, if you will, Chet, where it affects the motor function and brains of other people around him. So basically, as he's described in the movie, he's one of the most powerful weapons of mass destruction imaginable, Chet, where he can't control his fucking powers. Because remember, in X2, or some of the previous X-Men, where he's able to freeze people in place? Really cool scene, X2 in the opening. After the Nightcrawler bit, where everyone freezes in that museum, we see that. Well, this is the one where he doesn't have control of it yet. So it's like, holy shit. And he's just like, he can't control himself. And Logan is because of his healing factor, he can fight through it, chat, but it's causing him excruciating pain. And he drags himself there. He takes the medication, pumps it into Charles, sedative and various pills and things, and that finally stops the seizure. And he takes him, he lifts him up, and he puts him into bed. And Charles is like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And then he's like, I'm sorry, Logan. And he's like, see, you do know me. He's like, I know who you are. Fuck it! I know who you are. Sometimes I forget what you look like is all. But I know you. I know you. And then he just starts ranting. It's like, they need you, Logan. They need you. And it's like, who needs me? He's like, they need you at the Statue of Liberty right now. It's important. Like, thinking about the first X-Men film when they have to go to the Statue of Liberty to stop Magneto from unleashing his weapon. And Logan's just like, Charles, the Statue of Liberty was a very long time ago. Okay? It was a very long time ago. He's like, they still need our help. The mutants, they still need our help, Logan. And, Logan's just like, Charles, there are no more mutants. Okay? They're all gone. They're gone. All right. And then he's like, and Charles is looking at him. He's like, you don't think anything that we did was important? How we stood up for mutant kind? And like, Logan's like, it's over. Okay, it's done. And he grabs Logan's face like this. Logan's like, yeah, what are you going to tell me? He says, you're a disappointment. And he's like, holy shit. It's like these such cruel things. Like Charles Xavier never says things like that. He's always so encouraging, always stands up for you, always trying to motivate you, positive reinforcement. And he grabs him by the face and he says, you're such a disappointment to me. And just throws his face away. It's like, oh my God. I just love it. It's such a different take on the character. It's so inspired. And Logan's like, all right, I'm fucking done. I'm done with this, all right? Take your fucking pills. Stay in your bed. And really, he's just medicating him, Chad. He's medicating him, and so he's just basically in a comatose state most of the time. And as, Charles keeps going off about, there's this girl, Logan. There's this girl. It's a mutant. He's like, mutants haven't been around for so long, okay? All right, haven't been any mutants for quite a while, all right? But the last time we saw a lot of mutants was in Westchester, and he just stops talking. He's like, I'm not going to bring it up. And then, the Charles is like, what happened? What happened in Westchester, Logan? What did you do? What did you do? And it's like he's blatantly, because he's misremembering things. And really, Chad, as the movie goes on, you learn what happened to the X-Men. You start to suspect, like, what happened here. You hear something on the radio later on. It's like, this is the anniversary of the Westchester event, which killed hundreds. Like, it was like, what? Wait, what happened? And then Charles Xavier comes to realize what's actually happening. But it sets up. It's again very subtle about what happened to the X-Men and how Charles Xavier is probably responsible for the death of hundreds of people because of what he did. It's just like, holy shit. It's pretty goddamn good, chat. And James Mangold, he was debating about whether to film a scene which showcase that event there, like do a flashback where to show all the mutants basically dying because of Charles Xavier's seizure. And Logan was the only person to survive because of his healing factor. And he has that resentment towards Charles because he killed all of his family basically, but he loves this man because it's his dad. It's very complicated, chat. But he chose not to, which I appreciate that. I appreciate that restraint that he had, because of course that would have been cool to see all these characters come back. But that final moment when Charles realized what he did at the end, towards the end of his arc in the movie, it's so tragic and beautiful. But he's just screaming, he's hollering and shit, and he's like, I know what you're doing. You're just waiting for me to die. That's what he's doing, chat, because that's like the last thing. I know you always hear, like, at old folks' homes or something, or you have a relative who's older or a parent who's older who's in the throes of dementia, and they're saying things are just really mean and hateful and spiteful, and you just want me to die. That's what you want, like that. And that's what he says, basically. And in truth, that's exactly what Logan's waiting for, because he can't bring himself to kill him, even though he probably should. Charles Xavier is probably the most dangerous person on the planet. I think he's like the most wanted person in America because of what he does, but because of his power set, chat, and how he doesn't have any fucking control of it anymore. And Logan, he knows he should kill him, but he doesn't want to because he loves him, because it's basically his dad at this point. This is very much a father and son and father and daughter story. Through and through, and he just can't do that, but he still resents him, but he loves at the same time. It's just complicated, chat. It's still a really cool family dynamic. Anyway, I know I went off on that scene, chat, but it's such a great goddamn scene. Eventually, he fucking leaves, and he goes back in, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking retire for the night. I need some sleep. And then we just see him, chat, ripping the stuck claw. He snicks his claws, that one is still stuck, and he pulls the one claw out, and it's just covered in just blood and viscera and just this thick yellow pus. And it's like, ooh. And he's like cleaning out alcohol. It's like burning, and she's drinking at the same time. We see on his wall, chat, Yukio's samurai sword. So That was cool, little James Mangold Easter egg. That's Yukio Samurai Sword, chat. So as we know, and the Wolverine, she went with him to be his bodyguard, and then they threw that whole thing at the end credit scene 2 years later. So it's implied that she died. We don't know how, but she did because he has her sword, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little Easter egg, chat. But again, she probably meant a tragic end too. People get hurt around Logan. That's what he says throughout this film. People die and they get hurt when they're around me. And so, yeah, it's true. He cuts his hand when he pulls out his claw, so he has to wrap it up. And then he's just drinking. He's just constantly fucking shaking, chat, as he's trying to get to sleep. Trains passing by because they're right next to a railroad. And he just looks like shit. Eventually, he wakes up a few hours later, chat, because he got to get to work, got to make the money, honey. And he comes out there, and Caliban's like, this is not what we need. These aren't the kind of pills that he needs to take, for Professor S. And he throws him at Logan. He's like, well, that's what the guy gave me. I don't know. And then Caliban's like, yeah, those pills I just gave you? That's not what you gave me. So you can't fucking see anymore, you blind fuck. He's like, leave me alone. Just arguing, chat, bickering back and forth. And eventually, Logan, he's getting ready for work. He's got his coffee. He's putting whiskey into it. He's like, I don't fucking care. Wake me up. That's my breakfast right there. Coffee and whiskey. And, Caliban, sits down with him. He's like, I know what you're trying to do, okay? I know that because what Wolverine's endgame plan is, chat, is he wants to get Charles Xavier out of the United States, and he wants to buy a boat. He wants to buy this particular boat called the Sunseeker. The Sunseeker, Logan, yes. And Caliban's like, so am I going to be a part of your little merry band, okay? I'm like, Sunseeker. Big word in there, fucking sun. As you know, the sunlight burns and could kill me. And I'm not gonna fucking be in the bowels of the ship hanging around like a goddamn subterranean ghoul, okay? So I don't know what your plan is, but it's not great. And Logan, I could tell you look like shit, and smelling you, something's killing you. All right, you're sick. And Logan's like, I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. I'm fine. Which he's not fine, chat. But I do like it. I do like that it's an old married couple, chat. Old married couple, and they're dealing with an older parent who is in the throes of dementia. Exactly. It's all about the family dynamic, chat. And he's like, I gotta go to work. And Caliban's like, Caliban is a realist. He is. He's very smart. He's very smart. He knows how this is all gonna fucking end. But, sadly, things do not end well for Caliban. It doesn't end well for a lot of characters in this movie, chat, in hindsight. The only person that really is, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's one character in a group of characters that, at least they can maybe achieve some happiness. But most of these characters do not have a go-lucky happy ending. I can tell you that right now. Like Logan said, people who are around me typically die or get hurt. And that is showcased throughout this film. But he's going to work, chat. He's picking up a few people, picking up a wealthy Texas businessman, chat, Ubering him, lifting him around, picks up a bachelorette party, the Bazungas! And they're like, hey, driver, woo! And they show the Bazungas, and Logan's like, yeah. I know that, Hugh Jackman's a handsome guy, but when he looks at these boobs, he's like, yeah, he looks like just a mangy old man. You do not want him to look at you like he was looking at that girl, chat. It's like, yeah, he's gross. And eventually they're leaving. Their dresses are all fucking covered in shit and mud and shit. Like, woo, bang, bang. Giving him fucking money. He's like, yeah, it's good. Carries these other guys around, chat, these prom guys going to prom, chat. The frat guys are like, USA, USA, as they're yelling at all the immigrants who are just poor coming across the border, chat, with literally nothing and going, the fuck, man? We're just hungry. And they're like, USA, go back to your country. Get the fuck over. It's like terrible, chat. It's like, yeah, it hasn't changed much. Very realistic what we're going through right now. Dan DeVito's Logan. Exactly. That's why Dan DeVito would be a perfect Wolverine, chat. Well, and I'm telling you, that's just a fact. And so, Logan, he's just like, he's got another person to pick up. He's like, all right, I got a Motel 69. Got it, 69. And he's like, yeah, I can get me some. And he goes over to the hotel, chat, and he parks, and he sees that the little girl. He's like, oh, that little girl. She has a bouncy ball. She's just throwing the ball. She just goes, throwing the ball, just throwing the ball back and forth, just staring at him. He's like, oh, that's weird. He opens gets out of the car. He's looking at it. He's like, hey, you look fucking familiar. And then, Chad, he hears the woman. It's the Mexican lady. It's the Mexican lady from later. And she's like, Senor Logan. He's like, that's not my name. He actually, chat, in the movie, we see on his Lyft ID, he goes by James Howlett. So he found out what his identity was. Chad knows that he's James Howlett. So that's cool. The last time we saw that name was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. So he's going by that name now, at least on official federal documents. and documents connected to Lyft. And he's like, I don't want anything to do with you. And she's like, no, please, I need your help, okay? I'm just trying to take her over the border, okay? I just need some help. I just need to go to North Dakota. I can give you like a lot of money. I can give you like a lot of money. And she's like presenting this cash, and it's like, it's overflowing. He's like, that is a lot of money. And I was like, where do you need to go? She's like, I need to go to North Dakota in these specific longitude, latitude directions. You got it? He's like, And when he's thinking all this over, all of a sudden you hear a window break. And apparently Laura, chat, the little girl, she threw a bouncy ball into a window, and it smashed it. She smashed the window, chat, by accident. And then this Karen, chat, she comes out. She's like, hey, I told that little girl not to go throwing the bouncy balls at the windows. Why is she throwing it? And, the doc, what's the doctor's name, Chad? I'm going to call her the Mexican lady. Let's give her the respect that she is due. Oh, let's give it Gabriella Lopez, Chad. Good old Gabby. She's like, no, because the attendant, Chad, the owner of the Motel 69, she starts going over to Laura, Chad, just starts yelling at her, berating her as a Karen would typically do. And Gabriella, she's like, blah, 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 blah. She gets between, she's like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, it's fine. I don't feel good. And she fucking falls over, Chad. And apparently she's been experiencing a shit ton of blood loss, because Logan notices all this blood is just dripping down her arm. And, the lady is just like, look at him, all the goddamn shame infecting this country. And Logan's trying to help Gabriella. And fucking Logan turns to this woman and says, why don't you get your fat fucking ass back in the goddamn room and shut the fuck up? And she's like, okay. Okay. She goes back in the room, chat. Verbatim. He picks up good old Gabriella, takes Laura, and they go inside the motel room, see that apparently, Chad, she suffered some type of wound recently, a gunshot, is profusely bleeding. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? She says, they're coming after us, these mutant hunters, these reavers. And he's like, shit. I met one of these guys earlier. And she says, listen, we just got to get to this rendezvous point. We need transportation. I know who you are. Look, the comic books, the comics. She's like, these aren't real. These aren't real, okay? I'm not that guy anymore. I never was that guy in the first place, okay? She's like, listen, I can give you a lot of money. And she like shows this one place where she's keeping all this secret stuff. She had like a phone and like a big wad of cash. I'll give you this now. I'll give you the rest later, all right? And he goes, okay, all right, shit, fine. I just gotta logistically plan for this, okay? I'll come back in the morning to pick you up. Sound good? Everything sound good? And they go, yes, thank you. And like he goes, all right, great. And he goes and he drives back to the place. Eventually, he's sitting with Charles, chat, and Charles is doing his little pea plants. He's got like all these little plants and shit. He's like, Charles, listen, I'm gonna be going away for a couple days. I'm going to North Dakota. Be back like, I don't know, 3-4 days. And Charles is like, is it safe, Logan? Will you be okay? Like he's concerned about him. He's like, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. All right. And listen, we're gonna get the Sunseeker. We're going to go on the open water. It's going to be great. You're going to get a lot of sun. You're going to love it. And Charles was like, that sounds nice, I suppose. But what about Laura, the mutants? Logan's like, fuck, God damn it. It's fine, all right? Just let's worry about ourselves, all right? We're going to be on the open water. Sunseeker. And meanwhile, Calvin goes, oh, I guess I'm just not invited, am I? Well, here's your fucking food. And just throws it down. And he's like, listen, honey, I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry, Caliban. Just talking to his wife. I'm sorry, okay? I'm going to be gone for a few days. I got this. Don't worry, all right? I already got. He's got a text message from her. It's like, we're ready. He's like, all right, I'm on my way. All right, I'll be right there. And so he's like, just keep him calm. Make sure he's eating. Make sure he's medicated. Okay, I'll be back in a couple days. And Calvin goes like, all right, sure. And so Logan goes back. Stops at the motel, chat, but he notices that the motel door has been busted in. Someone forced the lock. He goes, fucking shit. And he opens the door, chat, and he sees Gabriella just sitting in a chair like this. Just like, And he's like, And he walks in and sees her, and her neck has been, and she's been fucking killed, chat. She's been murdered. She's got the shit beat out of her, chat. I mean, her fucking face looks like a meat patty. It doesn't look good, chat. She's already black and blue, already rotten. What'd they do to her, chat? They run her neck, and he's like, oh, Jesus. And he knows where she's keeping the rest of the cash, knows where she puts her cell phone, and so he opens the secret panel, chat, and he grabs the phone, he grabs the cash, sees the directions on it, And he sees the phone. Last message is like, they're coming. Please hurry. And she couldn't finish it, chat, before she stuffed it back in there. He's like, fuck. He doesn't see Laura. He doesn't know what the little girl is. He's like, I'm taking this goddamn money. At this point, he's like, they're going to come after me. They know where I am. And he's like, he grabs the shit. And he goes back in his car and he drives back to the facility. Caliban, he's in his Mad Max suit, chat. All this attire, covering his skin, goggles, hat, sun hat, and everything. And he goes, listen. And Caliban's like, well, what's wrong, honey? What's wrong? He goes, it was a bad fucking deal. They got a hold of this person. Listen, we got to get going for a little while. I don't know if they're going to come here, but we got to get going, all right? And while this is all happening, chat, Logan, he goes back in. He goes back in the facility. But Caliban, he notices that, he's like, what the hell's that smell? And he sees that the trunk of the car is open. It's open. He's like, what the hell? And he goes over there, chat, and he sees the bouncy ball that Laura has, and he grabs his backpack and goes, yeah, that's kids, all right. I don't like it when Steve Merchant just opens a backpack and goes, that's children. I don't like that. Not appropriate. I got a good old whiff of kid there. Woo! And he's like, Logan. And Logan's like, whoa. He's like, whose are these? Are you kidnapping kids again? He's like, I'm out of that trade. And he, Chris Herman's Logan, yes! Yes, children. And so he takes him. He says, I don't fucking know who these are. I don't know. He's like, oh, wait, the little girl. He's like, oh, shit. And then Caliban's saying, like, who's that? And they see this big black SUV pulling up. Every time you see a big black SUV, you know there's something nefarious about it, chat. It's one of those Federales cars. And it pulls up, and who do we see, chat? You hear him before you see him. As I live and breathe. The Wolverine, goddamn Donald Pierce, chat. Boyd Holbrook has appeared yet again, and he tracked down Logan pretty damn fast. It was not hard to find you, Not many people are buying a schmelting plan for recreational activities, and he's like, oh, I know you too. You must be Caliban. Oh, sir, I remember you. Yeah, quite well. You used to hunt your kind, don't you? You did. And he's like looking around. He sees, oh, I hear that you might be keeping a certain professor. Shame what happened up there in that New York, that Winchester, what went down there. We're keeping the old man. They classify his brain as a WMD, very powerful weapon of mass destruction, Logan. And he sees the giant water tower. He's like, that's where you keep him, aren't you? Oh, I know. I can see. I know. And right before he's like, all right, boys. Just tell me where the girl is, okay? And Logan and Caliban are like, we don't know. He's like, now don't you lie to me now. I can smell it, bonk, and it hitting the back of the head, chat. Just bonk with a metal fucking pipe, and he just goes down, chat. Concussed. Juicy sounds so slimy. That's what he sounds like. As I live and breathe, the Wolverine. And then she throws another. Then Laura, she gets her like, ah! She throws another pipe, and Logan's like, ah! He catches it. She's like, the fuck you throwing at me for? And she just goes, she's mad. She's mad. She's got that brow. She's got that heavy brow. And then all of a sudden, Logan's like, ah! Even he's like, I'll throw this back at you. But then Charles wheels himself. I was like, Logan, this is Laura. I've been communicating with her the entire time. Logan's like, God damn it, this is too complicated. And then Charles Xavier starts speaking really broken Spanish. He's like, habla. I know, fucking donde. Come on, what's the word for fucking como, Laura? Como, or whatever the hell. Come. And, he's like, he sits on his lap. And she, like, looks at Wolverine going, like, just stomps away looking at him, and she goes with Charles Xavier. And Logan, he goes to Caliban. He's like, listen, fucking just dump the body on the outskirts, okay, and come back here. We got to get going, all right? I don't know what the fuck's going on, but there's going to be more of them. Just dump the body and come back. Or text me when you dumped him. Text me when you dumped him. He's like, you understand? He's like, I do. Great. Mwah. And they give a little smooches chat because they're a married couple. And then Caliban goes off in the vehicle chat, and Logan goes back inside. Meanwhile, Firewolf. Listen, I don't know how to speak Spanish. What does come mean? I don't know what come means, chat. It's like, come with me, Laura, come. He's speaking Spanish. Donde está la cocina, chat? Where is the kitchen? Because there's some fan fiction details. It happens. Oh, also, by the way, Thank you for bringing that up. Donald Pierce's robotic arm chat is fucking awesome. I love it. It actually reminds me aesthetically of oh god damn it. Oh shit. I'm trying to get the guy's name. The guy that did District 9 chat. Help me out here. Guy that directed District 9, did Elysium. He did Chappie, Neil Blomkamp, thank you, Chris Harris, where it looks like just because he has, I don't know, he managed to make the CGI look so goddamn real, like it's very, very mechanical. And what they did was they used a combination of practical effects, animatronics, and CGI for a lot of the Reaver's limbs and arms, particularly for Boyd Holbrook's. And it's just awesome where one scene you see like how it reverses. It can go back and forth, like the thumb pops the other way, and then all the arm, like the fingers go like all the way back. It's super, super cool. And I just really dig the just the aesthetics of it, how it operates in the scene. But he's derpy now, Caliban. He's taking him away. Meanwhile, Patrick Stewart's talking broken Spanish to Laura, trying to explain everything. Well, Logan's just fucking staring at her and just like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't want to deal with this kid. But Patrick Stewart, he's like, listen, it's very important. All right, you were given this mission for a reason, Logan. Everything happens for a reason. We can finally help this girl. We can finally help the mutants. He's like, Charles, it's over, okay? I'm not doing that anymore, all right? You're my number one priority, and she should be the number one priority. The future of mutants rests inside her. That's what she represents. And Logan's just like, I just don't want to deal with this right now. And Laura's just eating her fucking cornflakes. Oh, it's just good food. I like it. And all of a sudden, chat, the whole building starts shaking. Oh, no, is Patrick Stewart having a seizure? She's like, oh, she gets like really scared. He's like, no. El choo-choo, el chugga-chugga, el treno. And she's like, oh, it's a train. El choo-choo, chat, el choo-choo. She kind of relaxes a little bit. And she settles down. Meanwhile, Logan, he's just waiting for fucking Caliban to call, just kind of sitting there. We then go with Caliban. Chat, we're in Caliban. He's driving the car. He's like moving the gun around. He's a little nervous. Chat. He's not used to doing something like this after all, only with children. But eventually he pulls to the side of the road, dumps the body. He's like, okay, dump the body, and then call Logan. Wonderful, just text him. And he closed the trunk, chat, and he looks over and he sees that fucking goddamn Boyd Holbrook has gotten up over, he grabbed the gun and is like, you fucked up, man. He's about to shoot him. He's got him in point blank rage. You and your kind fucked up. And we see all this whole just goddamn, just a line, chat, line. Car after car of big black SUVs. Thank you. Ooh. You really are a hero. Who is this with the follow, chat? As I live and breathe. Don Thug Meime. Don, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to stream, my new Huckleberry and Grinch. Hope you're doing very well today, chat. Very well. Chat. So Caliban, he's been captured. And Logan, he's like, oh, this is not good. Because I see on the security cameras that they have inside the facility, chat, that the whole place is being taken over by big black SUVs. And he's like, ah, shit. And he goes outside, chat. He goes outside, and he sees all these guys. And fucking Boyd Holbrook's like, oh, I'm gonna do this fucking again, all right, goddammit. Don't throw nothing in the back of my goddamn head. As I live and breathe, motherfuckers. I live and breathe the Wolverine. All right, where is the girl? Okay, I knew she threw a pipe at me. He's like, listen, man, I don't give a shit what's happening right now. Get off my fucking property. He goes to Logan. He's like, you used to be something, Logan. You used to be something. Logan's like, oh, what I used to do wasn't very nice, but I was the best one at it. And fucking Donald Pierce is like, that's not the catchphrase. Your mind's so fucked up. You remember what you used to say. All right, boys, beat the shit out of him. And they go in on him, chat. He's trying his best. Logan's trying his best, but he is just too slow. He can't move as he used to, chat. And he's just getting his ass kicked. And they're just pummeling the shit out of him eventually. They're holding him down and everything. And I was like, all right, enough of this bullshit. Oh, actually, no, this is what happens. My mistake, chat. We're not at that scene yet. What happens is Logan, when he sees the security detail coming in, he just fucking grabs Charles Xavier and starts running. And he just abandons Laura. He's like, I don't give a fuck about that little girl. It's not my fucking problem. And he puts Charles in the car, chat. And he just starts immediately fucking driving, trying to get out, chat. But every way is blocked until he's like, fuck, I can't get out. And so he stops the car. And that's when fucking, Donald Pierce, chat, Boyd Holbrook comes out and he sees Charles Xavier in there. Charles Xavier says, go fuck yourself. Very, very rude. And that's when he's like, all right, boys, get at him. He messed up his fucking catchphrase, and they start beating the shit out of him. Eventually, they just get him on the ground, chat. Wolverine cuts one of the guy's arms off, but still. They hold him down. And he sends off, Dime Store Brock Lesnar. Dime Store Brock Lesnar, get your big thick ass in there and grab that little girl. And he waddles in there with a bunch of backup chat. Has these giant metallic cuffs as he's going in there. Then we just see Laura just sitting there just eating cornflakes, chat, watching the security cam footage as they're all come inside, and she kind of stops. She's like, oh, I sense them. And all of a sudden, like, we see Brock Lesnar just kind of walking up to her, like, all slow. She's like, okay now, little girl, okay. And she just stares at him just like, And then we cut outside to just... What I can only describe as, chat, is if Brock Lesnar had his genitalia ripped off his body. As everyone's fucking dying inside that place. And Bud Holbrook's like, hell, that doesn't sound good. It's no bueno. And then, chat, we see little Laura. She's walking out, chat. She has her backpack, has her bouncy ball, and also the severed fucking head of Brock Lesnar, chat. Dime Store Brock Lesnar. And then Holbrook is like, oh, Lord, look at you having so much fun, girl. And she just goes, and she throws the head, chat. It lands at fucking Bud Holbrook's feet. And he goes, oh boy, it's gonna be hard, ain't it? It's gonna be hard on us all. Oh, Lord have mercy. And Laura, she's just walking so close. It's an epic moment in the movie, also in the trailer. And she's like, now, Laura, no. I love how he says, like, no, like wagging his finger, like, don't do that. Now do, like she's a dog or something. No. And then chat snicked. She has Wolverine claws too. And Wolverine sees it. He's like, oh, what the fuck? And Charles Xavier's like, she's you. She's like, you, Logan. And she just loses her little mind, chat. Oh, my God. They use a mixture of wires, CGI, practical effects of this girl. But she sells these fucking scenes, and she's just jumping to person, just stabbing the shit out of them, chat. I mean, she's like a little savage, just going after them. And at this point, I mean, she's going, and well, she's like, all right, I gotta do a strategic retreat. I gotta go back in the facility. And all the guys are just shooting at her, and Boyd Holbrook's like, stop shooting at her. She heals, goddammit, she heals. Ain't gonna do nothing. Like a little gremlin, exactly. He's like, go after her now. And, they all go in the facility, chat. And we just see her stalking these guys, chat. She's like the fucking predator. Want some candy? And she's just slaughtering them all, chat. And because she's so small, she always goes for the dick and peen, chat. Always the dick and the peen. And stab. Gets the ham hock, chat. They're like, they don't even know what the fuck happened to them before she finally gets their fucking face. Overwhelmed. Honestly, she's more savage than Logan. She absolutely is. She's vicious. She is vicious, Chad. No inhibitions. And Logan, he can't even believe this, like, what's going on at this point. He's like, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity of the distraction. Thank you again, Dark Side of the 5 biddies. And he's like, fuck it. And he snicks, Chad, and he starts fucking fighting and stabbing and slashing and shit. And he gets back in the car. He's like, we are getting the fuck out of here. Fuck this. Eventually, Laura, she busts out of the goddamn facility, chat, stabbing this one guy. Like her death screech. I don't know how to describe it, chat, but just her primal berserker screech. It's like a little, when you hear like a little girl cry, like just that piercing thing. But when she's like murdering someone and she's putting her knife hands into someone's face and just turning into like meat putty, it's not great. I mean, it's great, but it's not great for the person who's getting stabbed when you hear that little screech. And Logan is like, all right, fuck, we got to get going. And Laura does this sick, because he doesn't give a shit about Laura. He doesn't care about X-23 shit. He's like, I just want to get out of here. And she does this fucking sick move where she jumps on the hood of the car, just like, she's like, and she like crawls on top of it and she lowers herself to the moonroof. And Professor Xavier's like, are you okay, Laura? And she's like, and she has like a bullet stuck in her arm, chat. She goes, and she like spits it out like she sucked the bullet out of her own arm, shit. I'm like, holy shit, it's insane. Just like, and he's like, oh God. And then Logan's like, all right, fucking hang on, because he's gonna go through the fucking fence, chat. He puts the pedal to the metal, baby. Except he hits that fucking fence, chat, and he does not go through. I love that. It's very realistic, chat. Those chain link fences are pretty goddamn hard to get through, and I love that we see actually, chat, in this movie, he's not able to get in the fence through the fence in any capacity. He's like, shit. So he has the backup, chat, with the fence just completely inside the grill, mix of barbed wire chain. He's backing him. By the way, all the fucking Reavers are just trying to get through the goddamn car, chat, punching through it. They have these razor blade hands and shit. And Laura's just like, She's just slashing everything, trying to protect Charles, chat. That's your grandpa. That's your grandpa now. And, you know, one guy gets caught in the barbed wires, and he's being torn apart inside him. He's like, ah! He's screaming his ass off. Eventually, they do get outside, Chad. They go through this one fence that was not one of those chain link fences, Chad. But he has like a shit ton of reavers behind him, Chad. You got Donald Pierce. You got good old boy Holbrook. Chad, he's leading the pack, shooting at them with fucking guns and shit. Eventually, Logan sees a train that's passing by. He's like, I gotta pass this train, and it'll give me some distance between myself and them. But he has one guy like right on top of him too, like right next to him and shooting at him and shit. And eventually, he crossed the tracks. The other guy did not as quickly, and then boom, gets hit by the train. Chat. Those guys are just smushed. They are literally staying shit. It's like when a bug hits your windshield. This is what happened to these guys when they hit the fucking front of that train, just smushed in just meat patties, just gooey meat patties, chat. And Donald Logan's like, not Donald Logan, excuse me. Holbrook's like, God damn it, as I live and breathe, Wolverine, he's getting away. And he gets away. And Logan, he's just like, what the fuck is going on? he's very stressed out. Eventually, they stop at a gas station. They get Gabriella's phone out. And she apparently, Chad, Gabriella, not only did she work at a secret super facility as a nurse, designing mutants, chat, for weapons of war, but she's pretty goddamn good at Premiere Pro because she has put together one of the best edited found footage little movies I've ever seen, little documentary filmmaker. I thought she was going to say, and if you recommend this video on YouTube, I can get off $10 of my annual payment of paying for Premiere Pro. It's very well put together. I was like, all right, this is a little unrealistic, but sure, all right, fair enough. Just did it in her spare time. And as they're watching this, Logan and Charles, we just see Laura on this little like remote controlled horse chat just going just nothing, like no jar in her face. Just like, I just like this for some reason. I just like it. Thank you for the 5 days, Blumhouse. Take notes. Take goddamn notes. she's a great editor. She absolutely is. But they're watching this chat. Apparently, it was established in Mexico City by the Arclay Corporation. Arclay, I think Transgen, I think it was called. And yeah, I mean, this basically is what Weapon X became. It was just the evolution of it. You got one of the former people in charge of Weapon X. The actor's name, I forget the character he plays, but the actor is Richard E. Grant. Always British bad guy. He plays British bad guys. You've seen him before. He was in Rise of Skywalker briefly as like an admiral or something. And you know, he's running this facility. All these kids have different abilities, chat, and they kind of showcase them and, you know, allow them just kind of being turned the weapons of war, basically. We see this one kid who's able to control the earth, which is weird because he's controlling, like, the inside of his own cell. So why don't you just fucking burst out of it, chat? His name's Richter. You see that guy. You see one little kid with, like, little electricity powers. See one kid who's able to control, he's like using these force projection powers, chat, like he's able to throw out kinetic energy, just force, like sonic booms, and he fucking flips out, he goes, good, and just starts throwing these guys around the goddamn room like Baby Yoda and shit. It's crazy. But the thing is, they're raising these kids in this type of facility, chat, they're just being abused. They don't understand themselves or what they're being made for. They have no affection, no love. We see this one kid that just goes, fuck it, and just throws himself off the top of a building. He's wanting to kill himself. It's like, oh my God, this is really fucking dark. And then we see Laura, chat. We see Laura and what's been done to her, how it's very disturbing. I forget where it cuts out, because the video does cut out, and we see the rest of it later on. But we see Laura like in a chair, just sitting there as they're graphing adamantium to her bones. So they're not doing the classic. They apparently found more adamantium. I don't know how. They found more adamantium, and they're just graphing it to her bone shed instead of completely coating her skeleton, because they figured out if you coat an entire skeleton of adamantium, it'll eventually poison that individual, which is pretty cool. It's like, okay, we have to advance it. Also, Charles Xavier explains like Laura's abilities later. Actually, we're not at that scene yet, but we'll eventually get there. Also, I forgot. There was one moment I forgot between Hugh Jackman and Caliban. Between Logan and Caliban, where Caliban, he smelled something on Logan, and it makes its debut, chat. It's the one reference to X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's a big, important plot point, chat. They use it well here, but it's still fucking goofy. Wolverine has an adamantium bullet. He has it, chat. He has it, and you know, Caliban's like, why are you keeping this? He's like, it reminds me of who I am. He's like, that's not why you're keeping it, is it? And Logan doesn't say. But the adamantium bullets do make their re-debut, chat. They are back fuck. And they're in this movie, and they play an important role in it, chat. 2 big scenes are coming up with that bullet. First one I forgot because it's adamantium bullet, and I don't want to remember it, chat, but it's in there. It's in there. Yep, that's right. Dark Side of the is they were seeing as lab rats, tools for war, exactly, yeah. They're just made for war, and the kids are just so fucked up about it. And Gabriella and the nurses were the only ones that really cared for them. They were made from the genetic samples of various mutants, chat. Logan being one of them. And they used him, and they're like, these mutants were, they impregnated these girls, and they were basically used as test tubes. They birthed these little muties, chat, and they disposed of them. They killed them after they gave birth. So it's really fucked up. The video does cut off during the operation, I think, with Laura getting the adamantium grafts for her body. And Charles is like, Logan, we have to help this girl. And Logan's just like, fuck it, I don't want it. It's like, this woman, Gabriella, she paid you. This is a contract. You should do it. He's like, I didn't sign anything. He's like, do it, okay, Logan, we have to do it. He's like, all right, fuck it, we'll do it. And he's like, Logan. And he's like, what? I said I'm going to do it. It ends with, I have to pee. He has to pee, chat. And so he's fucking carrying Charles Xavier, chat, pushing his wheelchair. Meanwhile, Laura, she's upset at the little horsey ride has stopped. She's like, nah, horsey. She just wants it to start. She's about to stab the horse. He's like, stop stabbing. Gets a quarter, chat, puts it in there, and starts moving. She's like, oh, I like this. I like this. And he's like, all right, good. You like it right there. I'm going to go help my dad. And then it's a great scene, chat. Again, so realistic where you got to help the elderly parent who's in the throes of dementia. They can't walk anymore. They got to go to the bathroom. Helping him, sitting, pulling his pants down and everything. And Charles is like, I don't need you to do this for me. He's like, well, you weren't doing it yourself. I'm pulling your pants down, Charles. He's like, I can't go when you're looking. He's like, don't worry, I'm not fucking looking. Just go. I loved it. So realistic. Meanwhile, we cut to Laura, and she is helping herself to some grade A gas station food, chat. We got some Pringles chips. We got a Monster energy drink, chat. She's going to be bouncing off the fucking walls. I'm going to tell you here right now, chat, I do not want a little girl with fucking metallic goddamn adamantium claws and feet just bouncing around stabbing. I don't give her Pringles and don't give her Monster energy, chat. That's the last thing she should have. But she's just going around. She doesn't know the concept of money at this point. So she's just eating this shit. This is a fucking smorgasbord. This is wonderful. Life is great. And we see this gas station clerk. He goes, are you gonna pay for those little girls? She's like, mine. And she runs away. She's like, I'm just stuffing her face. He's like, all right, come here. Okay, where are your mom and dad? And she's like, not want to say anything. He's like, all right, well, come with me. He grabs her, chat. She goes, don't touch me. And just to say it, chat, but she goes, yeah, she gets that war cry. And she fucking flips this kid, chat. The guy looks like he's 25, flips him on his ass and just snicks and is about to stab him. And Logan comes in and goes, no, we don't do that. Bad, like she's a dog. She's like, no. And he looks down and he goes, hey, do you have any cell phone chargers? He goes, it's on the counter. He goes, great. And he grabs it. He also grabs some cigars. She just steals stuff. He goes, I'm sorry. And he fucking leaves with her. Chan, they're in the car. He's just smoking cigars. Like, he can't smoke anymore, Chan, because his lungs are all fucked up. And Charles, he's going on and on about Laura and her abilities and how she's so goddamn special. How she's basically a more advanced version of Wolverine. She's like a lioness. She has the 2 claws primarily for hunting and the foot claws made for defense. She's the ultimate warrior. And Logan, and she looks at Logan and goes, yeah, I'm better than you. And he's like, hi. And they keep on driving. Meanwhile, chat, we go back to the facility, the smelting plant, where Caliban is being interrogated by Boyd Holbrook. And so he's not dead, Jay. He's not dead. He's just been captured. Boyd Holbrook made a reference that I killed Caliban, but he didn't, Chet. He lied to him. And basically he's trying to convince Caliban to track down the muties, Chet. Track down, Professor Xavier, Logan, and in particular, X-23, Laura. And Caliban's like, I'm not doing that. I don't do it anymore. But apparently, Bo Holbrook brings up a lot of stuff we didn't know about Caliban. He used to do this all the time. And I get the sense that Caliban, he did do this. I mean, obviously, Boyd Holbrook says that he did. But I think because he did it so much and he caused so much suffering, he's just living with all this guilt. And he just had to get away from it. He's just trying to escape it, chat. And I think that's how he found Logan and Charles. And it's like, in a weird way, doing this thing was coping with his guilt and all the misery that he inflicted on people. Because he's a very smart guy. And he seems to be a good person, but maybe he was just at a point in his life he wasn't a good person. We see an Apocalypse, which comes out was a year before. We see that Caliban, and he's running like a fight ring, like in the UK or France or Paris or somewhere. I forget where. Not the same kind of character, chap, but he's not a very good person in that movie. But it's like, okay, maybe, I don't know if they have any semblance of connection. They probably don't, but you get the sense that maybe at one point he wasn't a good person. He's trying to change himself the better and be a good person. So I kind of like that. But Caliban's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, no. And, Bulwark's like, no, looks like you have a bit of a skin problem, don't you? Oh, I bet your mama taught you, Caliban. Beware the light. And he fucking takes his knife out, Chad, and cuts all the curtains off. And so all the sunlight just begins to burn the body of Caliban. He's like, just screaming shit. He's like, Stephen Richards sells this scene. Or he's just drooling all over himself. He's in so much horrific pain, just the spittle down his lip. And he's like, are you going to do what you're told now, boy? You're a good tracker. Hoo! Hoo! And he fucking throws the towel. He's like, go ahead, clean yourself up. He's good now. We're going to get him. And then they go off, Jake. They're still going to track him. So Caliban, apparently, he's going to go ahead and help them despite the fact that he doesn't want to, chap. But they're not going to kill him. They're going to fucking torture him to death, which is the last thing you want. And so he's like, all right, to hell, I'll do it. Merchant can be a bit of a clown, but he's good. No, he's a good actor. He's good. He's good in this scene. I wanted more of him in the movie, in honesty, Chad. That's one of my, I guess, minor criticisms. I would like to see him more in the film. He's kind of in this part. Later on, it was that part, one other part when we're at the hotel, and then at the farmhouse, and that's really it for him. He did a very good job. Also with Hugh Grant's character. But after that, Chad, we're back on the open road, and, good old Charles and Logan and Laura, they need a little bit of a change in scenery. And Logan, he needs to fucking change the car. The car is just a piece of shit, easy to fucking track. It's gonna be very easy to spot. He needs a new change of wheels, and so they're stopping, I believe, at Kansas City. I don't know if it's maybe it's Las Vegas. I was under the impression Kansas City. Oh, Richard E. Grant. I might have said Hugh Grant. Richard E. Grant's in the movie. He plays I forget the doctor's name, but he worked in the Weapon X program. His dad worked in the Weapon X program, and he was he had a cameo in Apocalypse. Arclay Transgen, the corporation. He's the reason why all the mutants are kind of not. Well, there are no more mutants anymore. And you see throughout the film, like, why that is. It's actually kind of cool. But Logan's like, oh, we're going to stop at a hotel and everything. They go inside this hotel, and Laura's just like, oh my God, she's overwhelmed by everything she's seeing. All the lights, all the gambling, the vice. Oh my God, it's overwhelming. And she stops at this one little fucking booth chat. Looks like just like a little clothing shop, and she sees, in the models, this one little girl wearing a fucking unicorn rainbow shirt. And she's like, I want that shirt. And she's like staring at it intently, chat. And she sees that in the little girl's holding the hand of what looks like a father-esque figure, chat, wearing a cowboy hat. And she's like, I want to hold a hand like that. And she looks over at that, like Patrick Stewart and Logan. Logan's like, get your little ass over here. And Patrick Stewart's like, I think we need some new clothes, Logan. He's like, fine. Because, she is covered in fucking blood, and so is he. It's like, that would be smart to do. And so, they did shopping, and we see, like, I love when the elevator opens, and Charles Xavier has this big, like, poofy, like how they put the stuffing inside, like, these little packages, chat, these little bags you have. He's like, he's like throwing up in the air, like, oh, wonderful. And he has this fucking fedora, chat, which he looks great in the fedora. Oklahoma City, that's where we are. He has his fedora. He likes to work good, chat. Patrick Stewart is one of those guys that can still rock a fedora. He looks good in it, chat. And like Laura, she has her little shirt on. It is the unicorn of the rainbow. And she's like, yeah. And then Logan's like, all right, we're on the 14th floor. He hits the button, and Laura's like, yes. And she starts hitting all the buttons on there. And Logan's like, no, stop it. And Laura's like, no. And she's like trying to hit more of the buttons. It's like a little kid. She's like a little kid. She's like, this is amazing. And he's like, Jesus God. And the fucking doors keep opening. He's like, sorry, wheelchair, you can't come in. He's like, just don't touch these things, okay? I'll tell you what you can touch. He goes, I'll stab you. Eventually, they go up to their hotel room, and good old Patrick Stewart and little Laura, chat, they're enjoying a Western. I forget what the movie is that they're watching. Let me see if it's referenced here. But they're watching a particular Western. And Charles is kind of talking about, oh, this movie's nearly 100 years old. It was a classic. I loved it. It's a very important movie, Laura. And Laura's watching with him. It's like the little girl, little granddaughter watching a film with her granddad. I love Shane. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, guys. And it's an adorable little scene because she's just kind of also goofing off. Like, she just sits in his wheelchair and she's like riding around it while watching the movie. It's just so cute and adorable. I love it. She reads the X-Men comics. That's true, Cyban. The X-Men comics they have. Meanwhile, we cut to Logan, who apparently spent most of his afternoon just fucking day drinking, Chad. He's raided the mini bar and he's just pounding little whiskeys and scotches and vodkas and gin. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. And he looks like shit. He does not look good at all. It's like, ugh. And he's like, the pus is still come out of him. He's trying to heal, having the bullets come out, fucking using toilet paper. It's good. Good old toilet paper. Excellent. Eventually, he walks out just hacking up a goddamn lunch and just oh my God. We see at one point where he grabs a towel and it's all blood. All blood, Chad. So he is not he's dying on the inside. He's rotting from the inside, Chad. And he steps out and, he sees, Charles and Laura just watching the movie together. And, he sees the X-Men comics on there. And he's like, oh, this fucking bullshit. He's like, it's not bullshit, Logan. It happened. He's like, nah, it's fucking bullshit. This is like maybe a tenth of it is true. And even that, I wouldn't even say it is. Oh, Laura believes in it. He's like, I don't give a fuck what she believes in, okay? This is fucking fake. It never fucking happened. All right? Don't. And he's like reading certain stuff. He's like, whatever. I got to get going. I got to go pick up a new car, all right? So you're going to stay here? You taking your medication? It goes, I'm taking my medication, Logan. Yes. He's like, good. All right, make sure he takes his medication. And he leaves. And then, Chad, we see him. He's driving his piece of shit car. Apparently, he's selling it to these just random guys who are like, do what you will with it, gentlemen. And they give him some money, and he goes to, like, this used car lot. Lady's like, I can give you this car for, $10,000 straight right now, get you some new tires, and the paperwork done today. And he's like, how about, $8,000 and no paper? No, that's what he says. I'll give you this $8,000. And he says, now, how about $10,000 of no paperwork? And she goes, I could do that for you, but you're going to still need new tires. She's like, how long is that going to take? About an hour. He's like, don't worry. There's a fucking bar right there. And he goes over there and just starts day drinking. He doesn't give a shit. And he starts pounding fucking whiskey shit. Like, it's a good life. Just choking to death. And then he looks down. He's like, I'm going to read some of these comics. He's like reading this comics like fucking asshole. And he starts looking at him, chat. Lands in this one page. It's called Project Eden. X-Men Project Eden. And he notices one of the panels, there is longitude and latitude, chap, some directions. And he's like, he can't see. I love it. Every time he's like, I can't God damn it. He needs his glasses, chap. So he puts on his glasses and he goes, wait a minute. And he takes out the package with the money on it with the directions, and it's the same fucking directions as in the comic book. She's like, oh my God, this crazy lady thinks this is all real from a comic book. He's like, son of a bitch. And he's just fucking pissed. He's just pissed. He's like, God damn it. And he gets back in the car. He's like, oh, shit, this is a wild goddamn goose chase. And he's driving back, chat. Fucking gives the car to the valet. He's walking up there. And what does he fucking see, chat? Two of the fucking Reavers right at the entrance. He's like, oh, shit. And he's dodging and weaving, Chad. He's like ducking around. Sees this whole fucking van set up. With more Reavers inside. He's like, oh my God. He's like, I gotta get in the room. I gotta get there. They might be upstairs. And he's about to go forward, and then everything freezes. And I love the scene, chat. Because it's so scary about like what's happening, but it's because Charles Xavier's had one of his seizures again. And also, that's the other thing he finds, chat, I forgot to mention. Before he's grabbing all the shit out of the car, chat, before he gives it to those guys, he sees all the pills that Charles Xavier has not been taking. And he's like, sees them stuffed into the back of the seat. And he goes, motherfucker. So he knows he hasn't been taking his medicine. That's one of the other keys to this whole scene, how it started. And so all these people are frozen, chat, in place. And he's the only one that can move because of his healing factor. So he's slowly trying to get in, goes inside the hotel, chat, just stomping away in so much physical pain, chat. Eventually gets to the elevator, hits somebody. He's like, come on. Like he's about to shit. It's like, oh, come on. I'm so close. Oh! But he finally gets there, chat, gets in the hallway. And he sees the guys. He sees one of the Reavers standing outside. He's like, what the fuck? And then at this point, he's just so weak. He's like, I got to get there faster. So he starts stabbing the wall, chat, to hold himself in place. It's going, just back and forth. And I love it. As he gets closer to this guy, the guy's just like, he's like, because he sees him coming, but he can't move. Thank you, 10 minutes. My heart's a pitter-pattering. Thank you. But I get a headache from this scene. It really, it can mess you up. I can see how watching this over and over again. But I love the guy's just like, but he can't move. He's like, and Logan's is like, yeah, it's killing time. Stab. Right through the goddamn face, chat. And he sees the scene itself. Jay enters the room, stabs that one guy. All these guys are going to Charles. They're all frozen in place. Laura's on the ground, like writhing, trying to get closer to Charles. And he has like two guys on top of him, Chad, like guns pointing at him. And Logan it's such a cool scene, Chad, where he systematically stabs all these guys in the face, one after the other, as he's getting closer to Charles. Until Laura, she has the medicine in her hand. Logan grabs. He's like, and Charles is like, and he stabs in the heart with the shit, or like I guess right here, not in the heart. Boom, and then all the people drop. They all fucking dropped. Every single one of them, except one guy. Logan did miss this one. He's like, I'm alive, and then Laura goes, and she fucking stabs the shit out of his face, chat. And Logan's like, all right, we got to get going. He fucking puts Patrick Stewart in the chair. Laura, she grabs all the shit, and they're trying to get out of that place. Meanwhile, all the people are coming to, chat. They've all been concussed. Some of them might even be dead. Chat. And all Charles is saying is like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, because he knows he did it. He's just so emotional over it. And, he fucking gets, Patrick Stewart, throws him in the back of the car. Laura, get your little ass in there. Grabs a chair. Puts it in the back of the truck, Chad. He gets in. Meanwhile, we cut to Boyd Holbrook, who's also coming to. Caliban is there, and Caliban's like, oh, jeez, I don't feel great. And Boyd Holbrook does one of the best falls, I think, in film ever, because we've all experienced this. It's a small moment, but he sells it, where he steps out of the goddamn thing, out of the truck, and it's not like whoa, I fell. It's like he's trying to, but he's like, ah, shit, he like catches himself halfway through it. It's like, ooh, that hurt. Like, what he just did would hurt you, like hit his tailbone and everything. He's like, ugh. He's in pain. I like that shit. I like that method acting right there. It's some method acting. And he sees the truck, leaving. He goes, oh, fuck, but everyone's in so much physical pain, not going to be able to move at all. He's still in physical pain. And at this point, you're like, all right, this is a goddamn mess. We got to call in some big guns. So he calls in, what's his name, Jen? He called him Hugh Grant, chat. Calls in the head honcho, Richard E. Grant. Richard E. Grant, who's the head of the Arklay Transgen Corporation, chat. Part of the X-23 and X-24 program. And, he sees that Caliban. He comes in. He's like, you've been doing a shit job, Boyd Holbrook. Don't know what the hell you're doing anymore. And he sees Caliban. He's like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that you've been mistreated. It's like, they have mistreated me. He's like, you're right. You're absolutely right. They led with the closed fist. I come with the open hand, okay? Listen, you could still help us. You could still redeem yourself, Caliban. It's fine. And he's giving him medical attention, everything. And he says, oh, my God, you people are crazy. He's like, no. Listen, we are trying to help the world. Trying to help you. And it's like, Laura, she's nothing. She's an asset. An experiment gone awry. A mistake. My mistake. And I'm paying for that mistake right now. Not someone like you. You are a product of nature. Proud product of nature. I admire that about your kind. He's a little racist, Your people, you have the swagger of a young mutant. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he's really with the open palm with Caliban, chat, talking about his muty swagger. And so eventually, though, we cut back to the open road, and Logan's obviously really pissed off at Charles. It's like, why aren't you taking your medication? He's like, I don't like taking it. It makes me sleepy. He's like, we almost killed people. He's like, well, if I didn't take it, then we'd be dead right now. If I did take it, we'd be dead right now, wouldn't we? He's like, fucking shut up. Just shut up. Oh, this is a mess. Thank you, those are the 5 minutes. Hashtag cancel. Well, he is. Those are his words, not mine, chat. Those are Richard E. Grant's words. I didn't say those things, now did I? And so he's like, oh my God. He's just so upset about it at this point. And he also brings up the fact, yeah, oh yeah, and your whole goddamn North Dakota crossing the Canadian border to escape this place, it's bullshit. She's like, what are you talking about, Logan? And he says, look, she got it from a fucking comic book. That's what the directions are going. And he's like, it's real to Laura, Logan. Real to Laura. It's like, it doesn't, what does it matter? Charles is like, it's real to her. We should do it anyway. And he's like, fuck it, fine. At this point, why not? And while they're arguing, going back and forth and shit chat, all of a sudden, this giant fucking truck comes out of nowhere, like, what the hell? And these, I love it, chat, because it's a very subtle, futuristic thing. There's a lot of self-automation now, and we see that in various businesses, chat. It's like, the assembly line, how that got rid of, workers who work on, like, in these factories, chat. The assembly line changed everything. Seeing it again now, trucking is a thing in the past. It's all automated at this point. It's like, oh, it's kind of interesting, where they're remote controlled. Or, they have an AI virtual intelligence in them, and it runs them off the road. It almost runs off these other people off the road, this family chat, these farmers who have these horses. And they're almost fucking, Logan and Charles Xavier and Laura, they're almost murdered right there, just smashed to pieces. And they see that this couple and then their son, they're run off the road, chat, and like all these horses that they had in their back, they're all escaping. And Charles is like, we should help them. And, Logan's just like, someone will come along. He's like, someone has come along, Logan's like the iconic line from the trailer. And he's like, fine, I'll go out there and help them. He's trying to get them, chat. Laura's out there and shit watching. But then Charles Xavier, he has his moment in his own way to make up for what he did, where he still has control of his powers, because these horses are out in the road, chat, and there are like cars are whizzing by, these self-automated trucks are coming by and things, and he taps into them and he calms them down, and they all walk back. And then Logan's like looking at this and like, what the fuck? And even the couple and their son are like, this is weird. They're all looking at Professor Xavier. They look back and he goes, yes, I did that. I still got it, bitches. He still has it, chat. Still has it. I mean, he has an episode occasionally, but he did good there, Chet. He did good there. But then the couple and the family, they're like, well, thank you for helping us. You know what? You were so kind. How about you come to dinner? And Logan's about to say, it's like, I'm sorry. But then Charles is like, that sounds lovely. We'll join you. And Logan's like, fuck. And then eventually, we cut to them at their home, chat, and their lovely homestead with a wonderful family. And this moment it is very much a Western. A lot of this is a sci-fi Western. This is such a great moment. This film has a lot of great quiet just scenes, just for character development and dialogue. And a lot of stuff comes out here. Just the history of the X-Men franchise is played out in here. Just so much context, and you don't need to have that context to enjoy the scene. But if you have that context, it's really good. Thank you, those are the 5 minis. Charles wanted the free, goddamn right he wanted that free. But he even mentions it in this upcoming scene. But they're all sitting down for dinner. It's just very funny, even these small, subtle things where the past were eating green beans, mashed potatoes, chat, and some of that hearty meatloaf. And Laura, she's just like, she just starts eating the mashed potatoes, chat. And all that shit. Also, Laura really wants to see the horses. She's like, I would like to see the horses. And Logan's like, we'll show you the horses later. She's like, I want to see the horses. And she's like, all right, I'll show you the horses. So they show her the horses. She loves them and everything. She's great. She got a little pony. She's got a little unicorn on her shirt, chat. She's into horses right now. She's always petting them, like in the scene before. But they're all talking, and shit, and Logan's like, eat with these. Fork, spoon, knife. Do it, girl. And she's like, nah. She starts eating normally, chat. She's hungry. She's very hungry. She's a grown little girl. And there's brought in conversation, I believe. That's the thing that's asked. So what are you doing out here? And Charles is like, we've always wanted to, we're city folk, never been out to the country. And my son and I, we decided to see it. We've been doing a traveling road trip. And I go, that's great. And the wife, she's like, I've been wanting to go on a vacation for so long. My husband just keeps moving it down the line. He's like, we're busy. We're trying to, make sure we have enough for the next season, all that. The son's like, I could help you, Dad, if I wasn't in school. And he's like, school's important. Logan brings up, he's like, you should stay in school. You're talking to a professor right over there. And, Charles is like, I used to teach. Yes, I ran a school for special children, special needs children. Because can't say, Xavier Institute for Mutants, chat, for the gifted youngsters. I want to put that out there. There's a little too much information. And he goes, oh, yes, my son, he was one of my students. And and Logan's like, yeah, I was never one of the good ones. Almost got kicked out a few times. And even Charles is like, you did. It's because of the murder and all that shit. There was another scene that was cut from this because it was too dark. Because it's a really playful scene. It's very funny. But there was one scene in it where they reference Jean Grey. In it, and they cut it out. I don't know if it was because of Days of Future Past or whatever. I'm not sure, because it kind of retroactively made that null and void. But again, continuity in X-Men films is ridiculous to begin with. But there's I forgot the context how it starts, but Charles Xavier talks about how Logan found love there, and he loved this one girl. And, but then, he killed her. It's like, excuse me? It's like, what? I'm just like, it was like, that's a conversation ender, chat. So they cut out that scene to make it just a little bit better. And so they have a very lovely little dinner chat. Charles like, it was very good. Thank you so much. It was so kind. And they're like, well, you're welcome to stay and to sleep here. And Logan's like, no. And Charles is like, we're happy to. Thank you for your hospitality. And Logan's like, until before, I think Charles... because Logan's like, well, we got to leave before sunrise. Yes, it's the crack of dawn, as it's called, Logan, the crack of dawn. We will do that, thank you. And Logan's like, okay, well, Laura, come here. Laura's just, I want to eat more food. Leave me alone. And, she's eating more food. She's like, don't worry, we'll take care of her. We'll get her some dessert. She'll be fine. She's like, honey, would you like some dessert? She's like, yes, I would, ma'am. Thank you. She doesn't say that, chat, but her eyes expressed it. While Logan helps Charles to the bathroom. And he goes, listen, I know you're doing your little fucking scheme right here, trying to have a good time and shit, but we got to get going. He's like, Logan, we've been on the road for 2 days. This is the first hot meal that we've had. She's 11. I'm fucking 90. Give me a little time to relax. He goes, okay, just take your goddamn medicine. Also, there was one scene, I forgot, where they're on before the truck scene happens. So he gives Xavier his pills. He's like, here, take this. And he goes, show me that you took it. And Xavier goes, like that. Just so obnoxious. I love it. He takes it here again, chat. I think he fake took it. Because what happens is, right before he takes it, chat, you hear this big fucking explosion, like a water main broke, chat. And all the water shuts down in the house. They go, what the hell's going on? And apparently they come out and the husband, he's like, it's those goddamn automated harvesters are constantly fucking with our water supply to our farm, cutting it off. It's been a huge pain. I got to go out there and fix it. And Logan's like, well, do you need help with that? And he goes, you know what? I could. It might run into some trouble. And Logan's like, I'm used to that. I'll go help you in a minute. I can help my dad in the bed. And he goes, no problem. He takes Charles up there, chat, puts in the bed, and he goes, all right, you want TV? I love it. The subtlety in this scene, chat, the subtlety in this scene, where it's Logan is exasperated. It's like, okay, what do you want? Are you okay? Do you need to go to the bathroom again? Do you want TV? No? Okay, the remote's right there, okay? Remember, it's right there, so don't fucking call me when you need to turn the TV. The remote's right there, okay? Good night. And Charles is like, Logan. He's like, what? And he goes, you should take a moment. And he's like, what are you talking about? Such a beautiful scene here. You should take a moment. This is life. This is how it can be. All right? You deserve something like this. A little piece of love and quiet and comfort, okay? It's not too late for you to experience something like this, what life can bring you. And he's just like, life has brought me a lot, right now, and maybe I'll find that someday, but it ain't coming anytime soon, okay, Charles? Just please go to sleep. Just please go to sleep. He's like, look for it, Logan. You deserve it. And he's like, yeah, thank you, Charles. And he goes downstairs, and he goes out with the husband to fix the water main. Meanwhile, Laura's just fucking creeping around inside the house, just looking at everything. And she creeps it on the son like, can you show me the horses again? And he's like, no. He's like, show me. But he's like, how about music instead? Listen to some tunes. He's like, I would like to listen to the tunes, please. He's like, here, you can borrow it for the night. She's like, no, this is mine now. I'm going to have this forever. And she listens to the music while Professor Xavier, he's sleepy. He's sleeping, chat. Meanwhile, we cut back to Logan, the husband, chat. They got to the water main breaker, chat. What's causing the water shortage for his home. And apparently it's these new self-automated farming company that's brought in here, Chad. It's like a soft drink company, and they're growing their fucking super corn, tastes like shit, but it's super popular because it's using so many fucking products, Chad. Little hint right there right now. It's subtly, you're like, oh, what, okay, so it's like, like very real life, corn for high fructose corn syrup, but it plays a big role in the setting in the future. and the impact that it's had on mutant kind. It's just always in the background, shit. I love that. And so, but you just ignore it. You're like, oh, whatever. It's just, paying attention to the scene itself, wait to the big next action scene. But there's a lot of subtlety to this movie that I admire. And they fixed the water main situation, chat, where the water goes back to the house. But all of a sudden, then these good old boys, chat, they stop. Now, what you doing there, boy? And then it's like, that's racist. And we got these 5 guys, chat. They got all these fucking shotguns. It's like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? And apparently, they've been trying to run this farmer, this husband and wife and the son out of town for some time, trying to buy up their land, but they refuse because this is their way of life and they want to live it. Not going to let some fucking evil soft drink company destroy it for them. And they're like, now you're messing with the water now, boy. Why don't you get? And they're like cocking their shotguns. And Logan, who is in classic Wolverine attire, chat, wife beater, complete with blue jeans, is like, all right, I need you guys to leave right now. And it's like, oh, look at this. You're the muscle. He's like, yeah, I'm the muscle. And it's like, well, why don't you get the fuck going? And before you can even say, chat, Logan grabs his fucking shotgun, smashes it into his face, breaks his fucking nose, just screeches, chat, and smashes it above his leg and just throws over. So he's still a badass, shit. He's old, he's dying, he's sickly, but he's still a goddamn badass. And this guy goes, I hate you, we're gonna fucking get you. And they go back in the car and they drive away. And the husband's like, whoa. And he's like, are you trained military? He goes, Kinda. I want to talk about it. It wasn't a good time. It wasn't a part of the good movie at all. It was pretty fucking weird. We don't want to go over X-Men Origins. Like, meanwhile, let me tell you, let me do a flashback to X-Men Origins Wolverine. No fucking thank you. Thank you, those are the 5 minis. Breaks the shotgun half, snaps it over his goddamn leg. It doesn't help. The family is black. But, so a bit racist, those good old, very racist Dark Slayer. Very much so. I knew what they were doing. I know what James Mangold was doing. I like that. But we cut back to the house, chat, and we see what appears to be Logan. He's right at the outside of the door. You open the door, you see his shadow coming in there, and Charles is like, oh, Logan, I'm glad you're here. I just wanted you to know this was the best day I've had in quite some time. And he starts crying. It's a beautiful scene. But I don't think I deserve it. I remember what I did. And he's remembering Winchester, chat. We also hear in a radio program as they're going to Oklahoma City for that time before they get to the hotel, the Westchester incident. It's like, I remember, and sometimes I don't. And I remember hurting people. And it's revealed here, chat. I just love how subtle it is. We didn't need to do a flashback, but it's Charles remembers murdering the X-Men. Not murdering them. He remembers killing them, chat. Killing the X-Men, killing all the students there because of his seizures. And the only survivor of it was Wolverine because of his healing factor. And it's just an incredible moment. Man, Patrick Stewart is acting his ass. He deserved like a best supporting actor performance for this role. He did such a good job. He's a human EMP, very much so. And he just cries like, Logan, I'm sorry. I just want you to know, thank you. Thank you for taking care of me and for doing all this. And I know you're a good person, Logan. And like Logan, looks like appears above him, and like Laura's like, she's like, something's weird. Something's off. She's listening to music, but she takes off. She's looking at Logan. It's all dark. And, Charles Xavier kind of turns over and he goes, Logan? And then we see, get closer, chat, and it's Logan, but it's not Logan. It's like a younger version of him. It's X-24, chat. Richard E. Grant's Abomination, the evolution of the Weapon X program. And fucking X-24 puts his fist against Charles, snicked right through the goddamn heart. Oh! And he's dead. And Laura's like, not my grandpa! And she fucking jumps on him and just starts stabbing and snicking as much as possible, chat. She's just a little, like even more than the horses, chat. Show me the horses! Just all the energy is now put into stabbing whoever the fuck this guy is who just stabbed. It is shock. I thought, oh my God, he did it. He killed him. I thought he killed him. I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck's going on? Like, that would be interesting. He's like, I gotta kill you. Snicked. He's like, I gotta end this, but no. Because, you know, he probably should have done that a while ago. But it's such a tragic, just beautiful scene. Well, now Laura's just stabbing the shit out of him. The son, but, you know, X-24 incapacitates her, chat, puts her in this fucking contraption, like a steel, like, I don't know, like body bracer? I don't know how to describe it, chat. But she's like, no, like she can't move or anything. The son walks in. He's like, let her go. He has a metal bat, and he hits the back of X-24 in the back of the head. So you should have done that. Fucking snicked right in the tummy. Right in the tummy, chat. Just disembowels him. And son is dead. Son is dead, chat. And then we see just X-24 walk in the hallway, and the wife comes out. She's like, let her go. Let her go. And then we hear a shotgun blast, and there's Logan. As Logan and the husband are coming back to the house. They hear all this, and they go towards the house. Meanwhile, we cut to the van with Caliban and Richard E. Grant, Boyd Holbrook. And Caliban, he's just like crying. Like, you said no one would get hurt. You said you just came for the girl. He's just like, some sacrifices must be made. And it's like, oh no. Caliban is just like, oh God, I'm doing it again. He's so guilt-ridden, chat. And then we cut. And the husband, you know, he runs up the fucking stairs, chat. He sees his fucking wife. Her throat has been slashed, chat. She's dead. Sees his son. He's like, oh God. And he sees X-24. X-24 goes, ah, just stabs her right in the goddamn chest. He's like, oh. And then he does like a hell of a fucking fall, chat. He fucking flips backward, hits the banister, breaks. In so many movies, like you never break the banisters or falling down a flight of stairs. He fucking takes out most of the goddamn banister and railing shit as he goes down. It's very good. And he's just like, oh, he's like incapacitated. Is he dead? Looks like it. And Logan, he runs in. He sees all this shit. By the way, Logan's hocking up a lung because he can't run anymore. And he sees X-24 walking down. He's like, what the fuck? He's just staring at this thing. And Laura's just like, no, just screeching her little ass off, chat. Now, the X-24 thing is like, I don't know. Personally, it's just, okay, it's a younger version, more advanced version of Wolverine, like a clone Wolverine, basically. To me, I think it would have been kind of cool if that had been Sabretooth instead. If that had been Sabretooth, but he's just been, you know, what's the word for it, chat? He had, oh, God. Thank you, Dark 5 Days. I feel bad for this family. I did too, man, especially at the very end of their little story. Yeah, mind condition. Yeah, no, he had been mind conditioned. Like, he got, like, lobotomized. Like, lobotomized Sabretooth would have been interesting. Maybe they could have brought back, I don't know, Liev Schreiber. Maybe that would have been too close to X-Men Origins Wolverine. But I don't know, something, chat. I was like, oh, okay, it's a clone. Like, I'm fine with it. It's fine. You know, I'm not hating on it. But it's like, it's one of the weaker parts of the movie. Whatever. Still, everything he does is cool, especially this scene right here. The thing is, Logan gave a shit less about Laura. His only thing on his mind is Charles, and he runs up the stairs and he sees Charles. Goes, oh. And I love this. Again, very subtle in this part. You might miss it, chat, where Charles, like, oh. And Logan, he grabs his sleeves like, it wasn't me. Like he's scared. He's like he's gonna kill him. I just love he's just whispering to me, it wasn't me. It was like I love how just childlike Logan becomes in this scene. It's beautiful. And he's taking him downstairs, chat, puts in the back of the pickup truck. Puts in the back of the pickup truck while X-24, he's walking out. But then the fucking good old boys from earlier, chat, they're showing up. And they see X-24 walking with Laura. And he puts Laura down. And these good old boys coming up. And it's like, now, we just want to talk to you. We don't know how much he's paying you now. But I can offer you $5,000. That's $5,000. A week, that is. And X-24 is like, I have no concept of money, fat Southern man, and just promptly cuts his racist fat head off, chat, and he begins to slaughter all these people. And Richard E. Grant's like, shit, no, we got to acquire the asset. He's trying to go outside and calm X-24. He's like, X-24, calm down. He's like his daddy, chat, it's his daddy. Meanwhile, Logan has loaded Patrick Stewart in the back of the truck, and Patrick Stewart's like, Logan. And they're like, what's wrong? The Sunseeker. And he dies. That's his last words, the Sunseeker, and he dies. And Logan's just like, he's fucking freaks out, snick. And he goes right to fucking X-24 and just begins slashing and stabbing right up the ass. The thing is, he may have a momentary berserker rage, chat, brought on the death of his father figure, but he's no match against X-24. X-24 quickly dominates most of the fight. And, man, Logan gets his ass kicked here, chat. Stab, slash, gets him in the armpit. There's like an armpit stab in this. I'm like, ooh, that looked really bad, the armpit stab, chat. I was like, ooh, no, I don't like that. But Logan getting his ass kicked, and he's trying to block the slashers, the one iconic scene from the trailer where he's like, gah! As the blades are coming down on him, he's like, dude, blocks him, like, gah! But he's not strong enough, Chad. He's all fucked up. And all of a sudden, chat, hear this honk, honk, and this fucking truck goes boom, barrels right into X-24, chat, and impales us on his harvester. He's like, nah, I can't get out, chat. It's all down his middle and shit. And the husband, he walks out. He's alive. He walks out. He has a fucking double-barreled shotgun. He cocks that shit. Boom! But X-24, still moving. Boom! And he's like, nope, still moving. Aims for his fucking eyeball. Boom! And then right there, it just looks like he's dead. It looks like he's dead. And then we see Logan, who's like, just trying to stand back up. He stands up back on his 2 feet. And we see the husband just look at him. Just look at him, chat, and just like, you brought this on my family. He did. He brought it on his family. And he just takes a few steps close to him, chat. Just raises the gun. He's going to shoot him. Pulls the trigger. Empty. But he tried to shoot him. And then Hugh Jackman's expression, it's perfect. Where he's just like, I know, I was waiting till you just kill me. I would have preferred it. He's just like, okay. And the husband just falls down, dead. And he's like, fuck, this movie, Chad, this movie. And so then Logan, he goes and picks up Laura. She's like, Rah! She's screaming and shit. He grabs her. Meanwhile, Caliban's like, well, I gotta live with all this fucking guilt. And he's like, fuck it, I'm done. And he grabs these 2 grenades that are in arm's reach. And he, like, as Boyd Holbrook's preparing to go out there and kill Logan. And he's like, hey, Boyd Holbrook, beware the light, motherfucker. And he throws the grenades, and baboon! He blows himself up, and Boyd Holbrook gets a little fire, like a little fast scarecrow. And then Richard E. Grant gets a little blown up, but he's okay. They live. But they're incapacitated. And Logan, he fucking loads up Laura in the back of the truck, and they get going. They go into the fucking cornfield. She's fucking freaking out. She still wants to see the horses, chat. Also, she's very upset that she sees her grandpa, Charles Xavier, fucking murdered, chat, in the back of the pickup. That's also not great. He's like, hold on, stop freaking out. We can't see the horses. And he fucking unlatches her, chat, gets the metal brassiere. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like this metal, like, full-bodied brace on her, and they get her out off of her. There is a deleted scene in the movie where they show Logan acknowledging the death of Caliban, where we see Caliban's he's like almost kind of alive, where he kind of looks up and Logan's like, you did good, Caliban. And he moves on and Caliban dies. Caliban we do see later on. They're trying to clone him again. But I guess goddamn Steve Merchant had a great ending. Beware the light. Great way to finish his character arc, chat. And he sacrificed himself because he knew he would constantly be used to hunt down Logan and Laura and possibly other mutants in the future. He's like, I have to die. It's a sad end to that character. Again, people who meet Logan, chat, people who are with him, his loved ones, they all end up getting hurt or all end up dying. He's not wrong. It's pretty bad. Meanwhile, they're trying to get fucking X-24 off because now it's hours later. They're getting X-24 off the harvester chase. Like, oh, he's all fucked up. And Richard E. Grant just like stroking his hair. It's like his son. She's like, it's okay. It's okay. Who's daddy's little boy? Who's daddy's little boy? She says, I'm your little boy. I'm your little boy. He's like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's just very fucking weird. And Boyd Holbrook's like, whoa. Whoa. And we see them later on. It just feels very realistic, chat, where they've taken over the local high school gymnasium, and they're doing like all these fucking dead bodies, chat. We see not only dead bodies of the soldiers, the Reavers, chat, Caliban's bodies there is like that one. Clone him. He has a high intellect, and he can track down mutants. So get on that. And we see Merchant's burned out body. It's fucked up. We see children's bodies, chat. So we know that the children who escaped from the Mexico facility. Oh, I got the other thing, too. I forgot to mention. So Logan, he charged the phone. He saw the end of the video. Saw the big escape with all the other children, nurses, and they took them off in different directions. They all have to meet in this one specific location in North Dakota, chat, so they can cross the Canadian border. Apparently, America's hat is a little more liberal than America, chat. And so, yeah, but apparently some of the nurses and kids didn't make it, and they've been promptly fucking murdered, and you see their bodies laying on slabs in the scene. You might miss it, but those are little kids in those scenes. I'm like, oh my God, it's so dark. These Reavers are hunting him down. We also see Boyd Holbrook, like, fixing his arm, and does that cool little, like, the fingers go all the way back and shit. It's awesome looking. It's a combination of CGI animatronics, chat, practical effects. It holds up really, really well. Very good. Good blend of both. And eventually they're like, all right, well, we got to find him eventually. And I think what they do, I think they find the comic books or something, or the reference to where they're eventually going. The longitudinal message. They're like, okay, shit, now we know where to go at this point. Meanwhile, we cut to Logan, who is in the middle of burying Professor X's body. And this is the point in the movie, chat, where I cried. This is the first scene where I cried. And you would think it would be the one when Patrick Stewart dies. Maybe I got water-eyed, but it's here where it really hit me. Where Logan, he's just finished burying him. You know, he's got put all the dirt on top of him, and he's just sitting there. He's just not even sitting. He's just standing there. He's like, well, you have water. And then Laura's just coming up next to him, and she takes his hand, like in the we saw earlier with the little model, the little girl and the dad. And she takes his hand. He's like, "You got water?" And he can't finish. He can't finish what he's saying. It's just, at least it's got water. At least it's got water. And that's all he can say. That's beautiful. And then we get one of the funniest scenes in the movie. Which I love it. Where he loses his fucking mind. He's like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. And when he's just, he's going to leave Laura again. He doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit. And where he goes out in the car, tries to start the truck, which he just bought like 24 hours ago. And he's like, no. No, fuck. It won't start. He fucking opens the hood of the truck. He's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And he just fucking loses. Like, fuck you. Fuck it. He just grabs the shovel and goes, yeah. And this is all improv. They just like, Hugh, go to town. Destroy this truck how you want. And he's just whacking this thing. There's no music playing. Chad just whacking the shit. Meanwhile, Laura's just like, ooh. And she knows this is far, chat. See this other little truck that's parked nearby. This one guy is gonna go on little fishing trips. Got a little dog, and Laura's just like, I like dogs. And she goes over there. Meanwhile, we just see fucking Logan smashing the car, chat, until he just tuckers himself out, and he just fucking collapses. He just knocks himself out. He's so tired. He's so fucked up from the fight. And then eventually, chat, we cut. And we're in this medical facility. I thought, are we in the veterinarian's office again from the Wolverine? Like, didn't that last time? No, it's a walk-in clinic. But Wolverine comes to, and we hear this doctor, who's a character actor. I've seen him in other things before. This guy's been in a lot of stuff, I think for like nearly 50 goddamn years. And he comes to, he's just like, I never thought I would see one of your kind before. Oh my God! I mean, you got are you okay? He's like, I'm not okay. He's just not sounding great, chat. He sounds like an 80-year-old chain-smoking bag lady at this point. He's not that attractive anymore. Sorry, ladies or guys. Hugh Jackman's not what he used to be, but he's like, I'm not okay. And the guy's like, oh, listen, you need to rest. You need to check yourself into someplace. I think there's something inside you that's poisoning you, that's preventing you from healing, and you got to figure out what it is. We got to figure out what it is. And Logan, he says, I know what it is. I love how it's like they're very subtle with everything, not saying like it's the adamantium. They will later on, like at the very tail end of the movie. But he says, I know what it is. It's the adamantium that's poisoning him. And he walks out with Laura, who's just sitting there, just like, yeah, just waiting. And he's like, how the fuck did we get here? It's like, I don't know where they are. And he somehow took this truck, and she leads him to the truck, so she drove it herself. And she probably killed that man, his puppy. Why'd you do that, Laura? And they get inside, and he's just like, you can't go around taking things that aren't yours. He's like, He's like, but thank you for saving me. Thank you for saving me. And she goes, de nada, which is like, no problem. He's like, you just fucking talk? And she goes, see? After all this movie, you're finally talking? Why are you talking? And then she just goes, and she just starts going in Spanish shit, just fucking taking off her flip-flops and just whacking Hugh Jackman. He's like, oh God, just like, stop it. And then she just starts repeating all these names, Roberta, Victor, Simone, like all these names, like, fucking row. He's like, okay, shut the fuck up. There's nothing better, chat. than seeing a very sickly, alcoholic Hugh Jackman who has a liberal amount of damage shed across his body, swearing and telling an 11-year-old girl to shut the fuck up. There is nothing better than this. There's nothing better than this. It's so fucking funny. She's sitting dispatchio, exactly. That's what she's doing. She's cursing him. She's cursing. I curse you. I curse your family. I curse your future generations. And he's like, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want? She's like, no, Dakota. And he's like, no, I don't want to go up there. I don't want to go up there. He grabs the X-Men comp and he goes, this isn't real. See, this isn't real. She's like, see, no, Dakota, see. He's like, no, oh, God, please, no. And then she starts repeating the names. He's like, okay, fuck it. Will you stop saying the names? I take you there. And she goes, see. He goes, fuck, Jesus Christ. And so he starts driving out there, Chad. He starts driving, but he's not doing well. He's on death's fucking door, and him and Laura start having a conversation about everything. And she's like, I was talking with Charles, about you. He's like, yeah, what do you say about me? He says that he thinks you're dying, and he's like, you are dying. He's like, I know I'm dying. It's the stuff they put in me. It's the stuff that's inside of you. It's been killing me for a very long time. I just didn't know it for a while. But he's being very open about it. And he's like, you know what? It's time to go to sleep. And he just fucking starts sleeping at the wheel, Chad. She has to grab the wheels. Like, fuck, dude, take it easy. He's like, I got it. Take your hands off me. I love how it's changed now, the relationship, how he was the responsible caretaker of Charles. And now she's the responsible caretaker with him, where he's more aggressive now. He's not in his right mind. It's like you see the fucking shift. And it's like, oh, wow, it's right there in front of us. It's so cool, Chad. He's like, no, leave me alone. I could do it myself. And he promptly falls asleep again. She's like, we are stopping. And she's like, okay, we're going to sleep now. He's like, all right, I'm going to sleep now. And he just she just takes his head, puts it on her lap, and just like sleep. And she's like, okay. And he promptly falls asleep. And they're there for hours. And she's like, all right, I got to get going. And so she moves him. She's like, she closes the door. She gets in on the driver's side, chat. Puts his one leg down, sits on his other leg, chat, so she can prop herself up. She can see above the wheel. And she starts driving. And he's been asleep for a goddamn long while. Chat. Eventually, he comes to, the car's parked. He's like, and he stumbles out. And by the way, Logan, Hugh Jackman, has a constant limp throughout this movie. Like, there's never a scene when he's walking I can't tell the very end, but he has a constant limp up until this point. He's like, and he just drags himself out of the car, just looking around. The fucking sun's beating down on him. He's like, and then he sees like a little house on a cliff. He's a little house on the cliff, and he sees all these little fucking kids all in the sun. He goes, and then he sees Laura up there. He goes, Logan. He goes, and he fucking falls unconscious again, chat. Just waves. It was too much for him to even wave. Falls over, boom, concusses himself. And eventually, chat, he has hit his head so many times at this point, it's probably very dangerous for him. But eventually he comes to, chat, and he's being lifted on this like little gondola, chat, which I guess they use to like help people who are like on the edges of cliffs or mountainsides. He's like, oh shit, because he's like up in the air, chat, stories, probably hundreds of feet in the air. And he's like, oh god, as these kids are lifted. By the way, it's one little girl. So I'm like, that little girl's fucking built. Apparently her secret mutant power, she has super strength, chat, because all that, because Wolverine, he's heavy with the adamantium in his body. But they managed to get him up here, chat. Managed to get him up there, and then they just take care of him. Like, all these little kids, all the little muty kids, chat, that escaped the Mexico facility and the Mexico City. And they just let him rest. They help with his wounds and everything, clear him up, and eventually he gets better. And he comes to, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And we're introduced to a whole bunch of characters. One kid's name is Richter, chat. He's the one that can control, like, the Earth itself. He's like an earthbender. He's kind of like the leader of the group. And apparently they've been giving him this specific drug, Chad. It's the Mountain Dew. It's the Mountain Dew, which has become strictly illegal 2021 on, chat. So in this dystopian society, Mountain Dew was illegal, chat, because that was the thing that was giving everybody mutant powers. It was the Mountain Dew. And they said, well, listen, we can't have this because it keeps getting muties. But they obtained some of the Mountain Dew, chat, and they inject it into Logan, and he's looking a lot better. He's feeling a lot better. He's doing a lot better, chat. is like, great, perfect. Also, there's a scene later on in the movie where they cut it out. Another deleted scene where they reference Sabretooth, where you see this little kid with these Wolverine action figure and the Sabretooth action figure, and he asks Wolverine, do you know who Sabretooth is? He goes, yeah, I killed him. And it was like, that's kind of cool, but they cut it out again. They just did not want to reference Sabretooth at all, to any capacity. But eventually, Logan, he's looking better. He's feeling better. He's still resting. He's still just super tuckered out. He's sleeping for days on end. And the one day when he's sleeping, chat, they start cutting his beard until he gets those fucking mutton chops. And he looks a lot younger. He looks a lot better. He's like, hey, you can't fucking do this. Don't cut my beard when I'm sleeping. Oh, I look ridiculous. I should have kept the full beard. He does look a little funny, chat, but he does look younger. No doubt about that. Did a great job making Hugh Jackman look older. But eventually, Richter's like, well, you did your duty, man. Here's your fucking money. He goes, thanks. And Laura sees this, like, wait a minute, you're not coming with us? He's like, listen, this is what it was always supposed to be about, all right? This is how it was. This is how it always was, all right? It's how it was going to be. And so he goes to bed one time. He wakes up in the middle of the night, just her watching him. And she's mad at him, Chad. She's very mad at him. And she's talking about him. She says, I found this in your pocket. And it's the bullet. It's an adamantium bullet. And I'm like, oh, that fucking thing is so stupid. So stupid! But she's like, why do you have this? And he's like, well, it was from a bad movie. But no, he says, I keep it around because this is adamantium. It's what's inside of us. And it reminds me, and he says, you know what? Nah. I keep this because I'm thinking about loading into a gun and shooting myself with it. He wants to kill himself. He wants to commit suicide because he's just fucking done. And I don't know why I haven't done it yet. I want to. I don't know why I haven't done it yet. And it's like, well, that's a conversation killer. And then he goes to sleep again, Chad. But eventually he comes to, and all the kids are gone because the border's like right across the way, Chad. They go right to that border. They're home free in America's hat, also known as Canada, Chad. When he wakes up, he hears some droney drones. Here's some of those Amazon drones, chat. Amazon is leading the invasion of Canada, chat. They've had their fucking maple syrup and their mousses for far too long. That is American property, chat. We are promptly invading with Amazon and Jeff Bezos leading the first of our forces, chat. Actually, it's the goddamn Reavers, chat. They have Amazon drones. And Wolverine sees this, he's like, oh, fuck, those kids are going to be slaughtered. And he goes, I got to get running. He starts running. He's doing that Tom Cruise run, but he's not running like he used to. He's like, he can't do it. Meanwhile, we cut to the kids as they're just being captured by the Reavers, chat. And we see some pretty fucked up deaths, chat. I mean, some great stuff. We see one little girl who has the power to control pine needles. That's a lame power, except when she fucking forces them all inside of you and makes you explode via pine needles. It's like, oh my God, it's fucked up. We see this one girl who has nitroglycerin breath, and she goes, ah. He goes, and she like bashes his arm, chat, until it's all just breaks apart. It's really fucked up. Eventually, they're capturing all these kids, with the exception of Laura, Chad, the capture Richter. They shoot him. I mean, he's still alive. It's just a flesh wound. But Holbrook's like, it's just a flesh wound, baby. That's what he says. Just a flesh wound, baby. Don't you mind? Don't you mind now? As I live and bleed, don't you mind? And he grabs him. And run up in the circle. Laura, she's stabbing. And Logan, he's close to them. But he's like, I'm not going to be much in a fight. And so he has the Mountain Dew, Chet. He has the Mountain Dew. And they warned him, only take a little bit of this, okay? Because if you use it all, you could fuck you up. He's like, I got to use it all. He takes it, Chet. And then, Chet, he goes berserker rage, Chet. And we see that classic fucking Wolverine with that R rating. With the added cherry on top of the R rating, Chet. And he does all of his Wolverine moves, except it's just a massacre. He goes, and then he's like, just starts slashing. It does that classic, that jump he does in midair. Looks really funny, but it's kind of cool here. Just stabs a guy in his tummy. He's like, yeah! And he's slaughtering all these people. And eventually gets up with Laura, chat, and they fucking team up, and they're stabbing the shit out of everybody. It's so cool. She's like jumping off his back, stabby stab, right in the face, eyes, just peens. The peens and the balls, shit, just everywhere. That's what she goes for first. And Logan, he kills him afterwards, chat. Because he got to incapacitate him, and then you stab him in the face. And eventually he's like, oh God, oh Jesus God. And she's like, oh, you took all the medicine, you took all the dew, you're only supposed to take a little bit of the Mountain Dew. He's like, I couldn't help it, it was so good. But And they killed a lot of these guys at this point, and they're like, all right, we got to fucking save the kids. And they see the kids in this clearing and everything, and good old Boyd Holbrook, he has Richter, like, right in front of him, and Richter has, like, a really bad line where he goes, kill this dick, Logan, and fucking Boyd Holbrook's like, no, that was a bad line read, no, no, no. I was like, I don't know if that, what, the way the kid said in the line, it always sounds so good to me, kill this dick, Logan. Let's not do that. Let's just cut that out of the movie. I would be like, nah, we don't need that. But Richard E. Grant walks in. It's like, hi, I'm the villain of the movie. By the way, you probably want to know why there are no more mutants anymore. And Logan goes, not really. He's like, I'm going to tell you anyway. So I have basically been taking typical household products and food substances and corn and high fructose corn syrup and have genetically altered them to prevent mutants from emerging. It delays mutant abilities. It prevents the birth of mutants. It results in stillborns. And so I basically made your species extinct. Hope I don't die in this scene. Logan's like, that's kind of cool. And boom, he shoots him in the face. Shoots he says, I think my dad worked on the Weapon X program. I think he put the adamantium in you. And Logan's like, yeah, I think he did. I also think I killed him. And Richard E. Grant's like, I think you did too. It was just like a mutual understanding. I was like, you know what, man? We've been doing this for so long at this point. Just fuck it. We know we've been doing this. But he fucking shoots him in the goddamn face, yeah. I like it when Wolverine uses a gun in comics and in shows or like in movies. I want to see him use a gun more. He's like, he jumps on like Humvee and goes, blasting shit. But it's kind of cool to see him use a gun. And Richard E. Grant gets his fucking face shot off. He's dead. And it's like, oh, shit. And Logan shoots Boyd Holbrook's stupid mechanical arm. He's like, oh, I got my metal arm. And he fucking panics. And he starts running because Logan says, I'm going to get that ass. I'm going to get that country fried ass of yours, Boyd Holbrook. But Holbrook, he goes in the back of this Humvee, boom, opens up, X-24, and then X-24 and Logan are in just a goddamn battle. Battle of the wills, battle of the blades, chat, just fighting each other. Meanwhile, Boyd Holbrook, he's trying to, just try to fight Logan at the same time, but, X-24 is getting in the way and shit. Laura, she's getting involved. At one point, after X-24 incapacitates Logan, Laura, she just throws herself at X-24, just starts stabbing him, but he's stabbing her. She's like, no! Just going all at it. Right when Logan starts to recover, he goes forward, chap, but, Boyd Holbrook, he fucking harpoons Logan's thigh, that thick ham hock of his. He's like, ah! And, he's like this, well, I gotta get the fucking gun so I can kill him, chat. And while Logan's trying to get the harpoon out of his leg. But little does Boyd Holbrook know, chat, the children have become free. And they surround him and just fuck him up. I mean, they start from the inside out, chat. When these kids get a hold of him, they wrap him in grass, they electrocute him, they're breaking his bones from the in. He says, you just hear the snapping and the popping that's going on inside Boyd Holbrook. He's like, as everything's just being destroyed, shit. He gets fucked up. It's a really grisly death. It's like, ugh, pine needles, shit, just popping, exploding inside of him. Meanwhile, we cut back to Logan, and he gets on X-24, just fighting all that shit. Eventually, the X-24 is distracted, and Richter, he lifts like the big fucking Humvee using his earthbending powers, chat, and throws the truck on top of X-24, like seemingly killing him. And Logan's like, get out of here! Get your little asses out of here! He's not done. And fucking X-24 just, he throws the truck off himself, chat. Fucking stabs Logan, grabs him by the fucking neck, and just goes, and impales him on a tree trunk, chat. Fucking goes right through his gut. He's like, he's like, ooh, right through his gut. And Laura, she has the adamantium bullet, chat. And this is the adamantium bullets come back into play, chat. And somehow this bullet manages to fit in this gun. She loads it, cocks it, boom! Right in the back of X-24's head, chat. Dead. Dead as a goddamn doornail, chat. It's over. It's a stupid plot point, but it's like, all right, we'll allow it. How are we going to kill him anyway? And so then she goes over, and she cuts off Logan from the tree stump. And he's like, oh, it's just sticking out of him, chat. All the intestines, all the gore. And we get the other scene. You see his brain. You definitely see his brain. We get the second moment in the movie where I cried. Where Logan is just sitting there and just like he can't really even talk anymore. And Laura's just crying. And she's like, Daddy. And she says, Daddy. It's like, oh. And then she has her hand in his, and they're holding on to, he's holding on to so tightly, chat. And he goes, don't be what they made you to be. Be your own person. That's your family. That's your family. Basically teaching all the lessons that Charles Xavier passed on to him, chat, from one generation to the other. And then his last line, so this is what it feels like. And you can interpret this how you want. Like, this is how it feels like. This is what it feels like to die, or this is what it feels like to truly love someone. I like to think of it as the latter, chat. This is what it feels like. Now, if you remember, chat, we go back to my Wolverine review. Yukios, he says, I saw you die with your heart in your hand. Now, she could have been referencing the weird hentai mechanical spider that was inside of his tummy, or could have been referencing the fact that he had his daughter's hand in his hand, chat, and his daughter was representative of his heart. I like to think of it that way, chat. I like to think of it that way. And where, after he says this, is what it feels like, he dies. He passes on, chat, and the kids and Laura, they bury him. Laura does the speech from Shane, chat, about violence and finding peace. And then we see the little grave, chat. They buried him. They have the stones on top. They have little cross rooms. I don't think Logan was very religious. I don't think he was a practicing Christian, but fair enough. They're going to change in a second. And all the kids are like, well, better get going to Canada. And they head over there, chat. But Laura, before she leaves, she stops herself. And she goes to the cross, chat. And she changes it to the X. And she puts it down that he was an X-Men. An X-Man, chat. And then the camera just centers on the grave, chat, as she walks away. And the title screen comes up, Logan. And that, my friends, is a scene-by-scene breakdown of Logan. One of my personal favorite superhero films of all time. An all-around great movie, chat. Pretty goddamn good. The Last X-Man. That's what they should have ended on, chat. That was the one. That was it. That was the swan song. To me, that's the goodbye to that franchise. But you have, yay, great review, thank you. I'm not crying, you're crying. And I cried, chat. He's like, this is what it feels like. Love it. Love it. He says, that ending reminded me of Man of Fire in terms of being incredibly sad. But also, yeah, exactly. No, it does. I mean, he did what he was best at. And it was very nice. It was very nice, matter of fact. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a better than sex film, chat. Like, my only issues I had, X-24 is like, I wish it was something else. And the editing with the camera is like, all right, that's a little weird. Other than that, it was great. Love the movie. Yo, sorry, I missed the review. And says, oh, no problem, Crispy. That's why you have the VODs, my friends. That's why you have the VODs. Yes. This sounds better than sex review for a better sex. Oh, thank you. No, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the. I know this is a long one. I knew it would be, chat. I knew it would be. But I hope you like the intimate, specific details as I went into it. Here are my opinions on this fine cinematic feature. Thank you, show, for the 10 minutes. My heart's a pitter-pattern as we speak, as I live and breathe. The Wolverine, indeed. Beautiful review. Thank you, Thunderly. My one gripe with the movie is that I don't give a flying fuck about the stuff with Richard E. Grant. Other than that, this I like the stuff with him. The thing is, he's not like I don't know. I like the idea. He's good at addressing the things in the world where they didn't stop the mutants by like giant sentinel robots or a cure or, like setting them up to be like exterminated, like they're weapons of mass destruction or something, like how Stryker did it. Like, I gotta stage events to make mutants seem dangerous. Thank you, Miss Shelby. Thank you, so we can get this on a podcast. The winner would be him. And Team Make the 100 Biddies. Best part of this review was that your Donald Pierce impression is a mix between a Loveless from Wild Wild West and Carmen from South Park episode. It was a South slave owner. God, it is. You're right. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. It's a really great review, Chris. I really enjoyed it, man. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it was fun to do. I like the world. He's great. He's great setting for the world and explain like what it was. Are we doing another hype train, chat? Oh my God, we getting hype right now? Oh my Lord, as I live and breathe, the Wolverine. Thank you, Deadpool. Isn't it 24 just going to wake up a few days later without his memory? Establishing the origins with the adamantium bullet, the story of Wolverine just starts. That'd be kind of funny. I think, though, he like destroyed like a chunk of his fucking head, though. So I don't know if he can regrow the brain. That's a good question. That'd be kind of interesting, though. Oh, come on. What was your first scene to make you cry in the film, Chris? It was the funeral scene for Charles. When Logan is like, it has water, and his water. Like that got me. It's like, oh, my heart. That was the one that made me cry. And then this one. Those are the two big scenes. do the impression more often. I gotta play more Southern characters, chat. As I live and breathe. Thank you, Casmate, for the 5 minutes. You guys are so generous. Thank you. Munes messes up the title more, by the way. Of course it does. I haven't even seen that film, chat. I'll do all the X-Men films, chat. I've only done 3, I guess, so far. I've done all the Wolverine movies. The main, you know, where he's the, well, I guess he's the main character and everything. But in his own trilogy. I gotta do more of these X-Men films, chat. Badge of the 10 biddies. Thank you. Miss Shelby can think of the 100 biddies. His mutant solution is very much a plausible thing that could happen. Really, exactly. That's why I love it. It's fuck, gross, abusive science. I love it. Exactly. It's perfect for this dystopian world. It's like I can see this happening. Definitely see this happening. Too Tall, good review. I really enjoyed my. Thank you, Too Tall. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed the review. It was fun. Green Christmas, I'm Mr. Sun. Thank you, guys. Sing, do it now. Oh, thank you, chat. Oh. Chat, I'm going to go ahead and get myself some more water, and then we'll transition to the gameplay. Again, thank you for getting so hype with me, chat. I'll return in a minute, in less than a minute. Stick around, dude. Now, stick around.